Hello everybody, welcome on into Madden NFL 2004. It is week number 13 of random rosters, and as usual we have 3 games for you today. I changed it up completely from what I pointed out well, actually not completely. I changed 2 of the games out and left 1 in. Turns out there's a lot more at stake than I realized because I ended the video and then I went through and looked at a bunch of games with some teams that have some position jostling that they can do and ended up switching out a couple of games. Originally, I was going to take a look at something like this Packers-Lions game or the Dolphins at the Cowboys. No matter the results of those games, the loser is still kind of fine, especially the Packers because the NFC is a little bit wonky between the 5 and the 6 is like a 2-game gap. So even if they are to lose this game, they're still pretty solid in that 5 spot. It's going to give the Lions a significant advantage going into the back, 4 weeks? 14, 15, 16, yeah. The final 4 weeks to win the NFC North and try and clinch home field advantage. But there wasn't a ton there to play for. Same can be said about the Dolphins and the Cowboys. Both of these matchups are 8-3 versus 7-4, where the loser doesn't really lose anything. It's kind of just jostling for position, which would be interesting, I think, in week 16 or week 17. But we want to focus on teams that are trying to get themselves into the playoffs. So we're going to take a look at the Steelers and Bengals because the Bengals are in the playoffs. The Steelers are not in the playoffs, and with a win would vault themselves into serious contention to get into the playoffs and also be able to continue my personal thread of wild AFC North football from week 1 to week 17. We're also going to take a look at the Falcons taking on the Texans. Falcons are going to need a little bit of help to get into the playoffs. We'll take a look at the standings here. Over in the AFC, the Texans hold on to that 6th seed. So if they win, that they'll just kind of maintain positioning. But if they were to stumble at all, the Jaguars, the Jets, the Steelers, the Patriots, the Steelers, or the Bengals would have a really good opportunity there. I think if the Bengals might just slide to the 6th spot and then the Steelers would leapfrog them, but it could be more chaotic than I'm realizing. So I think there's an opportunity here if the Texans lose for other teams to capitalize on. In the NFC, the Falcons are 5-6, which is good to tie 6th place here, or for that 6th seed. You can see that gap that I'm talking about between 5-6 and 7-4. They would need the Vikings to fall, the Seahawks to fall, the Eagles to fall, and the Saints to fall, and they can vault themselves into that 6th spot. So it's a big game for both teams clinging on to or looking to hit that final wild card spot. Then we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Browns and the Seahawks. The Browns are in the AFC, and they are somewhere down here. They're in the 5-6 spot, so they can vault themselves into contention here. They need a lot to go right. They need like the Patriots, Jaguars, Ravens. They need them to fall. They need Steelers, Jets, Jags, Texans. I mean, they need a lot of teams to fall, but where I think this gets interesting is the Seahawks are in that 5-6 spot as well. So if the Vikings were to fall, Eagles, Saints, Falcons, they could put themselves into that 6th spot position. And I'm pretty sure I talked about the Bengals and the Steelers, but just in case I didn't, Steelers are right here in the 9 spot. They would improve to 7-5 and tie up the AFC North. The Bengals would fall to 7-5, and they would be in a weird cajumble with winners, Texans, Jaguars, Jets, Steelers, or losers, Broncos, Chiefs, and give the Bills and Dolphins quite the separation at the top. So let's jump on in here into today's first game, and that is going to be the Falcons taking on the Texans, a 5-6 taking on a 6-5. While the game is loading, I would like to remind you that this show posts every single Tuesday right here on youtube.com/ShawnosaurusRex. So if you'd like to see more, be sure to scroll down, subscribe, ring the bell. You will be notified when I post new videos, and you'll be able to keep up on all of the random rosters action. Thank you so much for watching, hanging out. Hopefully you're enjoying it. Let's have some fun watching some football.
As the Falcons square off against the Texans. Al Michaels and John Madden here to broadcast this one, brought to you by EA Sports.
EA Sports.
Football.
You talk about a
Tom Brady, currently in the 6th
this
seed in the AFC. He led the Dallas Cowboys to the Super Bowl last year.
There's not too many like this guy.
We did have the Texans on last week, and we did have the Browns on last week. We are going to see some more of these repeat teams. It looks like, to me personally, it looks like it was chaotic after week 11 or week 10, kind of separated itself going into week 12, but then it's kind of re-cluttered after last week's stuff, which has been interesting to watch. I like that there's a lot of teams in there, but I think the problem is that a lot of teams are in contention for like a spot. I think the AFC is a little bit more volatile, but it's going to come down to division winners because of how good the Dolphins are playing and the Bills. The two AFC teams, for them to both be 8-3, and if they get to week 14 or 15 or whatever it is that they play each other, it might actually even be week 16. We'll definitely take a look at that matchup because that could determine a lot. That is really hindering the chaos that can happen in the AFC.
From the 1-yard line.
And the NFC's been a little separated, and the separation is growing between the 5 and 6. So a lot of teams, though, still in contention for that last spot in each division. That is the positive.
Will be missed at linebacker today.
And if the division races are interesting and like competitive, that is fun. All right, it should be Mr. Michael Vick himself, the game-breaking Michael Vick here in Madden 2004, facing off against a really good Houston Texans defense. Held the Patriots to 3 field goals last week. The offense was inconsistent. We'll see if they throw the ball more this week. They tried to run it a lot, and it didn't really work in their favor. Kind of handcuffed themselves there to the tune of 4 field goals each. The Patriots and the Texans missed field goals, with Houston winning in overtime 12-9. Falcons, we saw them back in week 11 take on the Saints, and I don't remember anything about that game. It was a mere 2 weeks ago. Sam Madison injured his shoulder on the play.
Well, John, clearly two of the best
between a second down and third down. Third and long here.
The offensive line can give them some time to set their feet and release. Both of these guys are accurate.
Third down and 10 to be exact. Shotgun set with a running back and fullback to either side of the quarterback. Michael Vick took like the first snap, as we see a throw that's a little long for the receiver in the hands of the defender. And that is an incomplete pass, bringing up 4th down and 10. Michael Vick did take the first pass of this season, and I thought, oh, did I even randomize the rosters? I did. They just happened to get Michael Vick.
Royal is back to punt. Bannister will go back to accept this punt. Here's the punt.
So the kick is away. They're going to fair catch it right about the 48-yard line. So very good field position for Tom Brady and the Texans for their first drive of the game.
So they have 1st and 10 here. Ball on their own 48. Pass play here on 1st down. Pressure.
Brady hits the top of his drop, rolls, kind of steps back, rolls to his left, finds a receiver out of the backfield, and he gets a good gain into Falcons territory, down around the 40-yard line. Nice little float pass.
Calls your number, you want to make sure you make the catch and don't mess something up.
The quarterback lines up with 2 backs behind him.
On the 38-yard line. Here come the heat.
Going to the air on 1st down.
Brady with a short drop. Fires to his left side. Hits the same receiver he did the previous time, number 35, out of the backfield. That is a solid gain.
2nd and 4.
Realized that the Mariners were playing a little early today, so 2nd down and 4 after the gain of 6.
Man in motion. They give it to the halfback. He can't wrap him
There
up.
is a nice run off the left side. All kinds of room to run. And I think you can see why they tried to pound the rock so many times. That's the best run we've seen out of the Texans in the last 2 weeks. If they can get that going, it's going to be a long day for the Atlanta Falcons. But it might be a short game, which would benefit your host greatly.
Drops back. Pressure coming with the
Brady
pass.
throws, finds a receiver who breaks a tackle, but too many Falcons around him. They'll bring him down inside the 5. I like the short, quick drops that the Texans, are working with Brady here, making it just
So
easy
it's second and goal.
pitch and
4
catch
yards
down the
to
field.
end zone.
Second down and goal here. Can the Texans do what we didn't or weren't able to see last week? Yes, they can. Before I could even finish the sentence, I screwed up. A touchdown for the Houston Texans. That is a 6-0 lead here. Right down the field, a 52, 53-yard drive. It seemed like they were just kind of firing on all cylinders there.
Chandler comes in for the extra point. And it's up. And the extra point is good. Good job.
So they will actually just call it an even 50-yard drive. They drove it right down the field and scored a touchdown. Halfway through quarter number 1, we're looking at Houston 7, Atlanta 0.
And the kickoff team comes out onto the field. Not a bad kick. They'll set up for the
Kick is away. It'll be returned from the 3-yard line, and he'll get up to the 20. Make that weird little stutter step, but tries to get past the defender. Pulls him down up at the 25-yard line. So Vic and the Atlanta Falcons will start their second drive from the 25. See if they have a little more success this time around.
drops back.
Vic with the drop. All kinds of time to look fire to the left side, but it's incomplete. Excellent read by number 22 there on the back end. Drove to that football and knocked it away. Second down and 10.
Vic sends a man in motion. Flings it to the
Vic
outside.
throws to a receiver or a running back, out to the flat. Taking a page out of the book of Brady. Doesn't quite work as well for him. It is a completed pass, but not much there. Third and long coming up. They're down in 9.
The quarterback gets set with only one back behind him. The rush is on. Closing in. Throwing.
There's a nice throw. Looked like a pretty clean pocket. Did a good job of feeling the pressure. Got it out of his hand, but maybe a little short on that one.
That time he was right there in the secondary to tip
Came
the
up
ball
and knocked
away.
it away. So 7-0 here. Or excuse me, a 3 and out. I read the score for whatever reason. I meant to say the down and distance. This Atlanta Falcons offense is cold coming out of the gates.
And he chooses not to return this
They are
one.
going to fair catch it again. A little bit worse field position here for Houston, but with the way they were running and throwing the ball, I don't know that it matters.
Same thing to happen here again. Cardell in motion. Pass play here on first down.
Brady hits the top of his drop, throws right side, finds the receiver's hands, but he just can't come down with
He
it.
got open and the quarterback found him
Brady
with the
took a
pass.
hit as he let that
Couldn't get
one
under
go.
control.
Pretty good coverage down the field. Second and 10.
Second and 10. Ball on their own 36. They'll go from the I formation. Under pressure.
Brady with a clean pocket, finds the receiver out of the backfield yet again.
48. Good looking play.
Might be,
Hey,
is
I'd like to
that
see
maybe
him
a
get the
Mike
fullback
Allstott
involved in
sighting
passing.
perhaps?
He's a pretty good option out of the backfield.
Doesn't matter. It's a completed pass, and the Houston Texans are rolling again here. 1st and 10.
They line up in the I formation.
Pitch to the left side. Not a whole lot doing there. Good job by the Falcons defense to read that and stretch it to the boundary. Prevent him from getting the corner.
2nd and long coming up here. Brady sets up.
Gonna go with a run again, and that's just a complete and utter blunder in the backfield. Oh my goodness. Brady barely got that ball out of his hand before he got smacked along with the running back. Huge loss on a 2nd down. It's gonna set up a 3rd down and very long. And just when I thought this drive was gonna start getting going, it's 3rd and 17.
Brady gets set.
High formation. He's going to hit the top of his drop. Looks, fires. And he's going to find a receiver on the backside. Oh my goodness. The Falcons with 2 great defensive plays to force a 3rd and 17, and then they give up a gain of about 22. That is awful. So 1st and 10. Texans back in Falcons territory. From the 35-yard line. Offset I formation for Brady. He's going to hand the ball off. And the number 40 looked like he was maybe supposed to pick up that block, but didn't do a very good job of the guy on the edge and immediately went to the 2nd level. Or whoever was on that side. Looked like there was going to be a pretty solid gap there, but it closed quickly. For a gain of 2. Pitch to the right side. This was like... Wow, I'm glad. Oh my goodness. We're going to see a penalty? Clipping penalty. Oh no. Oh, what a disaster. Jones with the clipping penalty. Really setting them back. 2nd down and 22. I was going to say, when they initially snapped that ball, it looked good to run to that side, but the Falcons did a really good job of stretching it again, stretching it to the outside. They didn't let him set the edge, get the edge. Turn the corner. And then because the play lasted so long, someone got called for clipping, which is, I think, a penalty we did not see last week, but the week before we saw about 45 times. So maybe it's another clipping, a week of clipping here on Random Rosters. There's a nice throw. It was 2nd and 23, and it goes for a 1st and 10. This Falcons defense is awful. Oh my goodness.
So they have 1st and 10 here.
So 1st and 10 following a 2nd and 23. The 2nd time they have given up a conversion of 15 plus yards in just one play. It's not like it's like 1st and 25 and they give it up over 3 plays. It is the immediate next play following the worst play for a 1st down. Thomas is averaging over 5 yards a carry at 6 rushes for 31 yards. That last rush gives Houston yet another 1st down. So this Houston offense, maybe it wasn't the play calling as much as it was the Patriots have a really good defense. Really, really good defense. Pitch left side. The Falcons have been good on the edges, but up the middle is where the Texans have found a lot of their running room.
While also giving them the speed to rush the passer when they drop back to pass.
Play action pass. I wonder if that would be effective in this scenario. Wasn't a terrible loss, just a loss of 2.
And this is the 10th play of this drive.
They're going to go with a running play. They're going to try and go left side. Stretch it to the boundary again and again. The Falcons do a really nice job there. He was over 5 yards a carry, but I'm sure that's down to closer to 4 now with a couple of runs for a total of 0 yards. So Brady in a bit of an obvious passing situation here from the shotgun. Stands, looks, rolls right, fires over to the other side of the field, and it just is a little short, so McCardell had to come back for it. And he's about 3 yards short of the line to gain. It's a pretty good throw, just not enough strength on the run. And this will mean that Chandler will come out, take the snap from somebody.
So this will be a 23-yard field goal attempt.
Or the hold from whoever.
The kick is up.
And we'll see the kick go up, and the kick is good. So a 24-yard field goal by Chandler is good. A 13-play drive takes a lot of time off the clock, and Houston is able to extend their lead thanks in part to 2 very large conversions, 3rd and 17, 2nd and 23. They're able to push that lead out to 10-0.
Here's the kickoff team.
Is lined up for the kickoff. Number 31.
Nice kick. Plenty of distance. From the 4.
From the 4-yard line up past the 10, past the 20.
The Falcons
Gets taken down
the 22-yard line.
after a pretty solid return there. And that'll be a 1st and 10 for Vic and the Falcons, who have 6 plays and 0 first downs so far. Go with a running play, and this Houston Texans defense is all over it. Swarming to the ball carrier and dropping him.
Maybe an audible to a sweeper.
Maybe for a loss, not 100% sure.
It's 2nd down and a long way to go.
They'll give him a loss of 1, excuse me. A dross of 1. Vic hits the top of his drop. He's going to try and run up the middle. That'll be the first down of the day for the Falcons. Pretty good read to just tuck the ball and run. It's like someone went in and created just a bunch of plays that are going to drive the defenders way down the field and open up a hole in the middle, find some yards, and bam, first down.
Ball on the 34-yard line.
Hands off to the running back. It's bottled up.
Gain by the running back.
Bettis just has nowhere to go.
And they need about 9. Ball on their own 34.
Vic with another handoff. This time Bettis is able to blow a man back. He'll pick up a solid gain to set up 3rd and manageable here as we approach the, that's right, 2-minute warning of the first half.
They line up in the I formation.
Houston, excuse me, has been so efficient with their possessions.
2 minutes to
They've
go.
really been eating up this clock. With more than enough time for Atlanta to get the ball, or to get some points here. I believe Houston's going to get the ball first in the second half.
2 minutes left in the quarter. Using motion.
A little bit of pressure, contact in the backfield, and they'll bring him down. And then he'll lose a yard, maybe 2. Doesn't matter. He's not able to convert the 3rd and 2 for a first down. And a really good read there by RE number 95. Lightning McQueen? Nobody really blocked him. He just kind of ended up being a free rusher.
Unable to pick up the first down. We could see the punt team here.
Surprising to not see a timeout taken by Houston, but 3 timeouts with 1 minute and 20 seconds, minute 15 after the punt. Obviously, you want as much time as you can possibly have, but I don't think it's terrible to let this clock wind down a little bit. Protect the lead.
Here's the punt. Fair catch called for. This one goes out of bounds.
So a nice punt by Royals.
More points to this lead, but we'll need to do a good
every
job
drive
of
has
spot
had the
management.
Texans starting further back.
1st and 10. Ball on the
This time at the 26-yard line. 1:16 to go in quarter number 2. First down and 10 for Brady and the Texans. We'll likely see those 2 quick timeouts burned right at the 1 minute mark and then like immediately after. Thought that was going to be a completed pass, but it's incomplete. Second and 10.
When you drop back to pass the ball. But it's hard to find a rhythm and establish some consistency when you're the quarterback and your receivers are dropping passes that should be catches. The defense can't afford to take too many gambles by going for a pick when they should just try and knock it down. One mistake can lead to a big play for the offense.
Brady deep down the right sideline finds some hands, but nobody comes up with it. Great coverage on the back end by number 29, and that is going to bring up a 3rd down and 10. Not taking a lot of time off this clock. Kind of, at this point, wise of Houston to let that wind down as much as they did. They got it with 1:16 to go, and they've only taken 8 seconds off of it since. There's a throw. It's wild. And nothing happening there. A lot of white jerseys in the area, not a lot of blue.
He didn't look comfortable. And that's because they did a good
12 seconds come off the clock. Atlanta's going to get the ball with a shade under a minute to go. 3 timeouts. The defense does a nice job stepping up. Fair catch. It's going to bounce out of bounds. We'll see where they spot it.
We might see a quick pass here on 1st down. 1st and 10.
So 57 seconds to go. From the 25, 1st down and 10, single back set for the Falcons. I think they have a ton of time to be running the ball, so they're gonna put it in the big bomb and arm of Michael Vick, who is going to find the hands of a defender with good coverage on the back end, tipped it away.
He just couldn't bring it in.
2nd down coming up.
There's only one way that they're going to be able
They're doing a nice job, both teams, of slowing this half down to a crawl.
The defense lines up in the nickel.
Ball on the 25-yard line.
Dropping back. Pressure coming.
Vick throws right side. That one's batted away as well. Again, good coverage on the back end. Doesn't seem like any of these receivers on either side, honestly, are getting a whole lot of separation. Harder to tell on the Texans' offensive side because they have been running the ball effectively, and when they've been throwing, for the most part, they've been using the backside of the backfield. But that last drive, the 3 and out, was good coverage and an errant throw. We've seen good coverage on the first 2 downs of this drive. Is this the errant throw play? No, it's not, but he is tackled short of the line to gain. Good timeout by Houston. To give their team a shot to get some more points before the half.
So 3 and out, and they'll line up to punt. Here's the kick.
It's a good spot to return, but a better coverage job by the Falcons. First guy that found him took him down, and it will be 1st and 10, short of the 40-yard line.
Trying to move the ball downfield and increase their lead before halftime.
They need maybe 30 yards for a decent shot at the field goal. There's a nice find, but he can't come up with the catch. You're going to get hit. You might as well get the yards while you're at it.
Looking to pick up
2nd and 10.
And moving down the field, still a chance for them to increase their lead. So it's 2nd and 10. Ball on their own 37. Let's go, come on. With the throw.
Brady throws, finds a receiver.
Bring him down at the 48. Brady.
And that'll be a nice catch. Take a timeout. Houston down to 1 on their own logo.
Be fed the ball so they can stay in the game. Here's the spot we're trying to add to the lead before the half can backfire. All it takes is one mistake, and it could be the defense that's scoring. That's why the quarterback has to throw.
Brady throws off the hands of number 87. I believe it's Keenan McCardell. It's a name I recognize, but I don't remember. Yeah, it is McCardell. And these Texans receivers have been dropping a lot of passes. We saw it this week and last week as well. But these are catches you got to come up with. Kind of understand why they're a 6-5 team fighting for a wild card spot. I think we got a peek at the standings as this game started. I think they're behind the Jaguars, who play the Bucks today.
but they only had 3 guys, and that confused the offensive linemen about where the other rusher or rushers were coming from. The quarterback doesn't want to force one to get the first.
Third down and 14 with 20 seconds to go here in half number 1.
Get it all on this drive.
10-0.
Speed on the field for the defense as they line up in the quarter. Dropping back. Gets rid of it.
Goes and finds a receiver 2 yards short of the line to gain. No timeouts from Atlanta at all. Houston could kind of just take an F-it field goal. Like, screw it. Like, snap the ball with about 3 seconds left. Oh, just kidding. They're going to punt it. No, they don't even have to punt it. Don't punt it. Never mind.
Here's the punt.
I don't understand what's happening. I'm very confused. Actually, that was a great punt. It doesn't matter now, but 10-0 is your score. I'm a little surprised they let that off the foot. We've seen punt returns for a touchdown, so it's not inconceivable to give up points that you shouldn't have given up. It's been all Texans here, half number 1. They were efficient on their first 2 drives. That scored 10 points. Their last couple of drives less efficient, including a 3-and-out. We saw a number of possession changes there in the final 2 minutes of the first half. But it's 10-0, and now the Texans can probably get back into their style of football, which is handing the ball off and throwing the ball to the running backs when they're not getting the ball handed off to them.
They'll go from the I formation. Man in motion. Throwing on first down. Gets the pass.
First and 10 throws over to the right, and that has got to be a catch. You are kidding me that you're not coming up with that. You are a professional receiver, man. Got to get those catches.
It's the toss to the left.
Tries to find some room on the outside. Well defended by the Falcons defense. You can see the rushing comparison there. Last few rushes for the Texans have not gone well. What I was going to say is that the Texans have been good between the tackles running the ball. The stretches, the tosses towards the outside, the Falcons have been all over it. They didn't send very many rushers there, and that almost forced an interception. So many guys in coverage. Brady with not a great throw there. It's going to be 4th down.
He just didn't finish the play.
So Leckler has a couple of punts to his name today. Has the 1 punt inside the 20 that was at the buzzer of the first half. We got a little underneath that one. Fair catch is going to be called for at the 41-yard line, so not a great kick there.
Only one man back. It's the toss to the left.
Pitches to the left side. Tackled a few yards behind the line of scrimmage, and Lewis with his 4th tackle of the day. Bettis just can't really get anything going. Both defenses have been guarding those stretch runs, tosses really well. Between the tackles, there's been a little bit more room. 2nd down and 13.
Dropping back.
Vic drops back, fires over to the left side, finds a receiver. Number 84 is going to be a little short of the yard marker, or the to-gain marker. You can see a comparison there. Houston has been dominant in this game. But this Falcons defense has stepped up over the last 3 drives, giving their team a chance, or their offense a chance. Trying to put some points on the board, get back into this game. Bettis finds just enough room up the middle, and that'll set up a 1st down and 10 for the Atlanta Falcons. Field goal is beneficial for Atlanta. Obviously, I think you want the touchdown. You want to score touchdowns. Not going to win kicking field goals, but since the deficit is only 10, a field goal is still a valuable 3 points.
First and 10. Ball on the 48-yard line.
the air on first down.
First down and 10. Rolling left side. Finds a receiver who's behind some defenders.
Number 88.
Got tackled by about the last guy that was going to get him. This is a good-looking drive here for the Atlanta Falcons, deep in Texans territory, on the outskirts or just on the edge of the red zone here.
Bettis, the lone setback.
First and 10. He'll drop back or go with a run play, excuse me. He'll gain about 1 yard there. Again, the Texans doing a good job setting that edge, not giving them a whole lot of room to work with. I mean, they might call this still second and 10. He might have gotten like half a yard there. They'll give him second and 9. Vic drops back, looks, throws left side, finds a receiver, tries to find a receiver in the back of the end zone, but it's tipped and broken up. 3rd and 9. Got to throw it to the outside there. Vic a little too far to the inside. Defender had a shot at it. It's going to be a tight play on the back of the back line there. And with how this game reviews and overturns and calls plays in that aspect, who knows? Vic throws. That's going to be to the outside. Really well read by that Texans defense. It's going to force a 4th and 7.
Between the quarterback and his receiver.
Either way, we're going to see the field goal unit come out. This is a bit of a disappointing end to this drive. It's a really good throw towards the back of the end zone if you just throw it to the left instead of a little bit inside to the right. Probably a touchdown. But they do come away with some points and put themselves on the board. 8-play, 38-yard drive. Took 2:03 and cuts the lead to 7. Halfway through quarter number 3.
Kickoff team lines up.
Number 83.
And he got all of that one. A great kick.
Oof, is that from inside their own end zone?
No first downs on that.
What is this, NFL fever?
What adjustments they've made here.
No, this is Madden.
To move the ball more effectively.
Madden NFL 2004.
They'll start the drive at the 22-yard line. First and 10.
So first and 10 for Brady and the Texans. We'll see if they make some adjustments here. They tried to find some running room off the left side. I don't know if they were trying to go between the tackles, if it was just kind of a stretch play that he tried to break inside. Nothing doing there. Actually, they'll give him a gain of 2, surprisingly.
Brady sets up, using motion.
We need a false start here?
Red ball. Let's start on the offense.
Dodson came out of his stance a little early on that play.
That guy went into his block a little early. Looks like the defense really has them on their heels today.
After the penalty, it's now 2nd and long.
Lose it. That's you.
Going to the right.
So a pitch to the right side. They're going to find some room out there. Beautiful spin move.
9-yard gain.
35 on the carry. 9-yard gain.
Pretty solid gain there. I think he made up for all those penalty yards and a few more. 3rd down and 3. Just shy of the 30-yard line.
Pressure coming.
Play action pass and a really nice job by that defensive lineman. Got off his block quickly and recognized that Brady was getting ready to turn around and throw and just put his hands up. I mean, worst case scenario, you're going to put your hands up and maybe just kind of bear tackle him anyway. But a great read there to force an incomplete pass. 4th down and 3, and you're going to give it back to an offense that's found a little bit of rhythm here in the second half. Looking to maybe tie this game. There's enough time to where I don't think that a field goal is the worst situation. You got to get in the end zone at some point, though.
You didn't have much to work with, but still got away a decent return.
Hey, even if it doesn't seem like much, positive yards on a return is better than nothing.
So they have 1st and 10 here. Ball on their own 43. They give it to the halfback.
Oh, Bettis finally finding some room against this defense. Bounced it outside and got a solid gain on 1st down. So it'll be 2nd down and 3 to go. Judging by the sticks there. 2nd and a very long 2. We're going to go with a pitch. This has not been an effective play for either team, but Bettis finds just enough room to pick up a 1st down. Wear down this defense, or these defenses, throughout the game. Commitment to the run.
1st and 10. Ball on the 47-yard line.
It's going to be 1st down and 10. Vic drops back. He's going to run, he'll go off the left side, I should say. And he'll pick up some yards, falling forward. Nice positive gain there.
Houston comes out in their nickel package.
On the 42-yard line.
Pressure.
Vic drops back, throws, and finds a receiver number 84 inside the 35-yard line. Interesting looking at that replay, seeing a bunch of Texans in the frame, and then when he took a turn, a lot of those blue jerseys were lost.
It's 1st and 10. Ball on the 32-yard line. Only one man in the back.
Real big game for Atlanta here. They are 5 and 6.
He'll get it again. Bettis was stuffed on that play, John.
They're just relentless when the offense decides.
Bettis only averaging 1.7 yards a carry. Thomas is up at 3.5 yards a carry. And the Texans might need Thomas to just pick up a couple of 1st downs, get into a 4-minute offense here in this 4th quarter as the 3rd quarter comes to a close.
So we've reached the end of the 3rd quarter.
This Texans defense has done a tremendous job in the last couple of times. We've seen them of playing a bend but don't break defense. We'll see if they can hold just a little bit longer.
Houston looks like they're playing the pass as they're lined
2nd and 10 as we enter the 4th quarter with a 10-3 score. Houston on top. Atlanta the only scorers of the 3rd quarter. Vic drops back, hits the top of his drop, steps up. Looked like he was going to try and run for it, but found a receiver. Bounced off a tackle and got tackled by the same person that he bounced off the tackle from. And it's a pretty short gain because of where they marked that ball. They must have qualified his move as a football move because it looked like it was a gain of about like 4 or 5, but instead they just gave him a gain of 2. Little delayed handoff. I like the call of the delayed handoff, but I did not realize it was 3rd down. So the Texans come up big here to start the 4th quarter. It's a 4th down and 7, and we're going to see a field goal here with 4.5 to go.
This is going to be about a 45-yard field goal attempt. And it's on its way.
Kick is up, and the kick is good. Looks like he just kind of snuck it in that right upright.
The Falcons are clearly not finished just yet.
This team's starting to get on a roll. Let's see if they have enough time to get it done.
Everybody blaze here in the 4th quarter. 10-6. I don't know that Atlanta has enough time. If they can't finish off a drive in the end zone, I don't think that they have enough time.
From the 1. Stiff arm.
Tried the stiff arm. There was no one there. Just want to throw that out there. Threw up a little Heisman just for fun.
They'll take over at the 23-yard line. 1st and 10.
1st and 10. Just past the 20. 4:15 to go here. Let's see if the Texans just kind of turn around and hand it off to their running back. That's what I would do. Even if you're not getting a 1st down, you want to just Milk this clock as much as possible. You're taking 40 seconds off each time.
About 6 to go. Ball on their own 26. Brady gets set. With the pass.
Oh, mouse.
Incomplete pass.
Is that another
He came
drop?
free on that play, but
Another drop
He was
from
there,
this
and the
Houston
quarterback found
Texans
him with a ball,
receiving
just
core.
bounced off his hand.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how bad this receiving core is. An offset eye here on a 3rd down and 6. I mean, Brady's going to try and drop back and throw. He'll find an interception. Oh my gosh, what a turn. Touchdown Falcons. Oh my goodness.
Never even looked for any of his other options.
That is unreal. The one time Brady finds a completion is to the other team. Really well read here. Just a nice grab. Nobody even comes close. And I was going to say, I don't know why they're throwing the ball. Even if you're not picking up a first down. It's 40, 80, 120 seconds. That's 2 minutes off the clock. You cut that down to 2:30, 2:15, whatever, you know. And this Falcons team hasn't been able to finish drives in the end zone. Your defense has played so great, and then you make a mistake like that. The receiving core has been terrible for Houston today. Way too many drops, and I will exclude the running back and the fullback from the receiving core. I know they have catches, but anytime Brady has gone downfield to a tight end or to a receiver, it's been ugly throughout this game. So now the script flips. What can Houston do here to try and get themselves back into this game or tie this up with a field goal? Falcons have played tremendous football here in the second half. All 13 of their points now coming here in half number 2. Looking to even themselves up at 6-6. I think the content person in me is like Atlanta wins for chaos.
Closing in, incomplete.
That's an incomplete pass from Brady. I don't know if Brady's just not very good in this game or his pass accuracy is off. And they have enough time, too, to be running the ball. They've gotten away from that ever since that, 2-minute mark of the first half. One, we've seen a lot of Falcons on the offensive side. But 2, they haven't really been pounding the rock the way you think they would. I mean, look at that. That's a 10-yard run. That is a 2nd and 10 to a 1st and 10 in one play.
They missed him with the blitz, and when they did that, there were no linebackers to converge, and that's how he got by the first down marker.
So they have 1st and 10 here. Ball on their own 36. It's the toss to the left.
Oh, the pitch has not worked in their favor all day, and it continues to not work in their favor. Thomas is up over 50 yards. He's averaging 3.6 yards a carry. A lot of those yards, though, are coming from between the tackles.
Plays and draws could be a good way to use their speed and aggressiveness against him.
Brady steps back and throws, finds a receiver. I believe that's actually an actual receiver. They'll find a short gain. So this is going to set up a 3rd down and pretty manageable here. Yeah, 3rd and 5.
And this is the 5th play of this drive.
Brady drops back, throws down the right side, and that's almost intercepted. Did not get enough air under that. That was well short of his intended target. And I think we're going to see an interesting decision here, which is to punt the ball away. I think I'm going for it. There's no guarantee that you get the ball back with this amount of time. I mean, I get it. It's a video game. It's far different than actual real life.
Fair catch.
That was a smart thing to do with the coverage team closing in for a big hit.
2:41. You need your defense to give you one more stand here.
So they have 1st and 10 here. Bettis.
They're going to try and run off the left side.
Back picks up about 2 on that carry.
Not a terrible gain there.
Catch the ball, man. Come on, partner.
They'll go from the I formation. Clark comes in motion.
Hit the ball.
Strong.
Fullback run. That is an excellent call right there. It's a tremendous gain. That's a gain of about 10.
They sent a couple of blitzes in to try and stop him in the backfield, but he just broke free and got past the sticks for a first down.
That'll take us to the 2-minute warning. 1st and 10, Atlanta. Houston is going to have to start coming up with some stops here. And then this is why you go for it, why I would go for it on 4th down. Put your offense out there. Give them an opportunity to salt this game away. Your defense has been tremendous, but they have been a little shaky over the last couple of drives. Granted, they have only given up field goals since we've had them on here in the last couple of weeks. Their offense let them down. Specifically, the receiving unit let this team down today.
That's their first.
Timeout number 1 for Houston.
It's 2nd down and 4 to go. Again, he'll get the
With a
ball.
handoff. Is that Michael Vick in the back or in the
They
backfield?
have 1 remaining. Picks up maybe 3 on that carry.
Third and 1. Ball on the 44-yard line.
And this is the 5th play of this drive. Getting the run.
Oh, they couldn't stop him on a 3rd and 1. That might just salt the game away. Bettis has a little over half of the yards that the running back for Houston has, but came through when they needed him most.
So they have 1st and 10 here. Ball on their own 45.
First and 10. Ball on the 45-yard line.
And an actual good job here. Clock management happening from an offense. That's fantastic.
Runs over the tackle. Bettis wasn't able to get anything going on that play.
And it's going to be maybe the last timeout taken by Houston.
That's just a case of
There it
studying
is.
game film this week paying off. When you know what they like to run in certain situations, you can anticipate the play call and stop the play.
Those
before
2-minute
it
drives
gets
towards
started.
the end of the first half really got Houston out of rhythm. We'll see Vic
I'm
take a
guessing this
knee.
should be a run. The
Wow.
defense can't be lollygagging around.
Atlanta scores
because if they
13
are, they give
unanswered.
up
They
a
come from
first.
behind,
This one's
and
over.
And they'll face a
they're going to
long
win this
3rd down
game.
here.
They're going to put themselves at 6-6. They're going to drop Houston to 6-6. And it'll be interesting looking at these two divisions going down the stretch. Though I think both these teams are going to be more playing for the wild card, especially Atlanta is going to be playing more for the wild card spot. But because the current holder of the wild card spot is a 5-6 team in the NFC, I believe the Vikings.
Looking upfield. Loses the defender.
This is such a big one. And then they were like 0-4. So they are 6-2 in their last 8 games.
They're going to bring in the punt team for the 5th time so far.
Oh, good. They didn't even snap it. I was watching that the whole time. I was like, oh, no. Oh, no. We saw Seattle in the first week of Madden 2003 get a win because of a punt, but I think that Oakland had to actually punt the ball. Not like, just like, oh, we're just going to kick it. No problem. Don't even give them an opportunity. You had the game won. Anyway, 13-10, your final here from Houston. Houston drops to 6-6. Atlanta rises to 6-6, and we'll see what happens between the Browns and the Seahawks. Both those teams in playoff contention as well. I believe the loss for the Texans helps the Browns, and the Seahawks are going to need to win to keep pace with the Falcons, I believe. All right. So 13-10, your final there. We're going to Seattle to watch the Cleveland Browns take on the Seattle Seahawks. Both teams 5-6. Yeah, the loss really helped Cleveland, because if they can improve to 5-6 or 6-6, excuse me, they can really help themselves. If they can drop the Seahawks to 5-7, that will.
As the season winds down, this matchup looks like it'll be another great one. Each team preparing all week for this battle as the Browns match up against the Seahawks. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the game. I'm Al Michaels. With me, as
remember
always,
if we've actually
John
been to
Madden.
Seattle yet.
You know, safeties are usually the last line of defense.
Michael
on the field.
Lewis,
So when
your
you have a guy like
highlighted
this back
Browns
there as a
defender
coach,
here.
You feel pretty good knowing your defense won't give up many big plays. You also like knowing that he can line up in the box and act as another linebacker to stop the run.
Deuce should see a lot of action to help give his
Deuce
offense a more
McAllister
balanced attack. The only way they're
in the
gonna be
backfield
successful
for
against that defense is to keep
the Seattle
them honest with the running
Seahawks.
game. It's definitely going to be a game of X's and O's and who has the better game plan.
This is a team that plays as one unit out there, and they're proving it right now. Look at them. They're all jumping up and down at the same time.
They're lined up for the kickoff, so let's get today's game started.
Seattle will be kicking
Oh, my
off to
goodness.
start the game.
They'll return this one from the 6-yard line. Still running. Breaks the tackle. The offense is heading out onto the field for their first drive of the game.
On the return.
The Browns will be missing
All
one of their
right,
defensive
Cleveland is going to be
linemen
starting
in
from the
this one. Although it's coming
22-yard line
serious,
here.
His ankle is still bothering him.
I gotta buy a new wireless mouse. It's
Man
driving
in
me nuts.
motion. Gets rid of it.
There's a throw over the middle, and hey, that's what it looks like when a receiver catches a ball.
Glad he made
Nice
that
contested
I'm
catch
sure
there
the
for
quarterback
Cleveland. He
will
gets
look
off to a
his
good
way
start.
again when he needs another
Collins
first down.
finding a receiver who brought their hands out onto the field today. 1st and 10 for Cleveland. Just underway here in game number 2.
Tomlinson, the lone back. Collins
We'll cap this
sends
day
the man
off
in
with the
motion.
Bengals and the Steelers
Handed off to the back.
from Pittsburgh. That's a battle for AFC North
They really hustle on the defensive
supremacy.
side of the ball. They're very good.
The Bengals are going to have the
line.
advantage in that because they already have the lead, but the Pittsburgh Steelers can at least tie them.
A much anticipated
And depending
game
on
to
how
get
the
two of the
tiebreakers
best
work,
running backs
Pittsburgh
in
could
the
be
game
on
going
top of the
at it.
What I like
division,
about both of these
They could
guys,
end up in
do a
second
good
if they
job of playing
lose,
mistake-free football.
or end up in
They
second
follow
depending
the
on the
blockers, and
tiebreakers.
most of all, they hold on to the ball.
And it's going to be
These guys
real
do
important for
that.
Pittsburgh to win that game.
Decent game, about 4. What have you heard, Melissa?
I caught up with Coach Holmgren to get his pregame
Oh,
thoughts.
Coach
He said the
Holmgren.
main goal of his defense in
Shoot,
this one
I
was to
forgot about
provide
that.
Excellent pass rush.
I was like, oh, Pete
Also
Carroll, and then
possibly force a
nope,
couple of
that's not Pete
turnovers to
Carroll
give his
because he
offense
didn't
some
coach the
good
team then.
field position to
He was
work
too
with.
busy breaking
Thanks for that
NCAA
report, Melissa.
sanction or rules around this time.
Closing in with the throw. The
Seattle
50,
defense
the
is
40.
just cannot even stop a runny nose. They are getting carved up here by Kerry Collins.
Not only
Deion
does this
Branch, I
guy
believe,
have a
played
strong
for the
arm, but his quick release
Seahawks
makes
around
him
this
very
time.
tough to sack.
First and 10. Ball on the 35-yard line.
Hit him low. Hit the ball.
Pressure. Throwing.
Collins finds another receiver. This time it's out in the flat, and they are just running free all over this field.
I'll tell you, when you've got second and short,
Contested catch to open the drive, and
you don't get it on this play, you can
seems
always
like
go
every
back
time they've
out
thrown
there
the ball
at third,
since, there hasn't
and
been
you
a
still only need a yard or
Seahawks
two
defender
for
in the
first down.
frame. Second down and 1.
Under pressure.
Almost had him. That time it's a contested catch. It goes for a touchdown. The Browns just slicing through that defense for the touchdown on the opening drive. Seahawks almost had their defender in the backfield on the last couple of plays, especially that last one. But just a seam right up the middle. Can't get the tackle on the backside, and touchdown Cleveland. And that's what we're looking for here. Efficient drives.
The kicking team heads out onto the field. And it's on
The
its
kick
way,
is up, and the kick is good. 26-yard pass from Collins to Witten. Caps off a 6-play, 76-yard drive.
Trusting your teammates to make good decisions out there in the heat of the battle. When you can do that, everybody starts
This can
firing on
do
all cylinders. And you can
real
come up with
damage to the
drives
Seahawks
like the one
playoff
we just
chances,
saw.
obviously for the wild card. But depending on the Rams-Vikings game later, the Vikings have been playing better over the last few weeks. The Rams might actually have a shot at wrapping up the division
It's on its way.
this week or next week, perhaps,
From the 1-yard
from
line.
the goal line, basically. It's going to be a face mask here, just a 5-yard incidental face mask, so it wasn't quite the best field position, but he did receive it at about the goal line. So pretty good run back of 19 yards. They'll tack on 5, and Seattle will start first and 10 from the 24.
Grab anything that's moving. Sometimes you get a handful of mass.
So they
The
have
Rams,
first
I
and
believe,
10.
are 8-3
Ball on their own 24.
right now. If they were to win and get to 9 wins,
Morton in motion.
and Seattle loses, I think that should wrap the division up for them.
Pressure coming. Throws it. And
Throw to the
catch
flat.
is made. Slips the
And no defender in sight. They can't bring him down. That is a huge play. We're going to have a high-scoring shootout here for the Seattle Seahawks and the Cleveland Browns. Oh, was it Peyton Manning on Seahawks? I don't remember the last time we actually had Seattle on the show. Do.
McAllister is the deep back. The Seahawks.
Yeah, well, at
using
least week
motion.
3.
Cross play to the right.
Week 13.
McAllister couldn't even get out
Not a
of
whole
the
lot going to the outside there, but
extremely active and effective up front.
you can see him. He moved back like half a yard. It was a weird animation.
Havoc in the backfield. Misdirection plays and draws could be a good way to use their speed and aggressiveness against them.
The quarterback lines up with 2 backs behind him.
We'll tackle with a loss of 1. It'll be second down and 11. Manning
Directing
from
traffic, using motion.
the I formation.
Closing in.
Drops
Throwing.
back, throws to the left side, a little short of the receiver. But a really nice defensive play to get up in the air and bat that ball away. Third and 11.
Only his guy can get it. Those tip passes can turn into interceptions pretty easily.
They'll be faced with a long 3rd down play here. McAllister, the lone back. The Seahawks using motion. Dropping back. Pressure.
Manning drops
Gets the
back,
pass
throws
off.
into the
You're lucky
waiting
that one
arms of a
wasn't
defender who
picked
was in
off.
perfect
defender
position,
was in a
but
perfect
couldn't come up
position
with the
to come up with a
catch.
big play.
That's a big miss right there. That should have been an interception. Granted, it just goes to 4th down, but take that turnover. Get those good feelings going.
Brand is the deep
Hand it back
return
to your
man.
offense.
Here's the punt.
Who already feels like they're in a very good
Signals for a
rhythm.
fair catch.
Hey, no reason to take a chance.
Fair
and
catch
risk a
along
fumble.
the sideline. It's going to
Smart
be
move there by the returner.
a pretty nice punt. They'll start first and 10 from the 12-yard line.
The quarterback lines up with 2 backs behind him.
First and 10.
Give it all you got, D. Come on. Ain't nothing. Sideline to sideline. Stay after him. Hit the ball.
To the the air on first down. With the throw,
Drops and throws to the
that
left
incomplete
side. I
pass
believe
brings
that's the
up
first
second
incomplete
down.
pass for Cleveland. That time it's into a little bit of coverage. Some nice defense on the back end for Seattle. 2nd and 10.
So it's 2nd and 10. Ball on their own 12. They line up in the I formation. Dropping back, under pressure.
Throws left side. That's going to be intercepted. And he's going to go back to about the 12-yard line where they were. Wow, I am surprised that was a pick. That is a huge swing for the Seahawks. That's why it's important for that Cleveland interception would have been so big. Instead, Seattle gets the INT, and they're going to set their offense up inside the 15-yard line for the 1st and 10.
Throwing on first down. Throws it. Great throw.
That's a nice throw over to the right side. Both defenses feel like they're playing very, very soft coverage, and both quarterbacks are very willing to throw to the little flat receivers, be it a running back or fullback out of the backfield, maybe in this case a tight end, just a little, just fake block and run out to the right. I'll find you. 8.5 yard gain sets up 2nd down and 1.5 yards.
He tucks it away.
There's a little bit of room up the middle, and Deuce McAllister is going to set the Seahawks up with a 1st and goal.
Convert for the first down. Manning directing traffic. Pressure coming.
Manning drops, throws to the flat, and McAllister can't quite get to the end zone. A terrific open field tackle by Cleveland. It's going to bring up a 3rd down goal? 2nd down and goal.
Ball on the 1.
From the 1. Wow, that was such a good tackle. I thought that had a touchdown written all over it, but great closing speed. Kept him out of the end zone.
Another run.
A run off the left side. Nobody touched him that time. And McAllister is in for 6. Seattle, with this extra point, will tie the ball game at 7 apiece, taking full advantage of the turnover.
They'll line up for the extra point. The kick is up. The extra point
Kick is good.
So the
4-play, 11-yard drive. Took 1 minute and 12 seconds off the clock and capped by a 1-yard run by McAllister.
As a defense, it's a tough situation when you come out and you realize the offense doesn't have to go very far. I'm sure the next drive they'll come out and want to stop them no matter where the drive starts.
The kickoff team lines up.
Lined up for the kickoff. Number 22.
Nice distance. From the 8.
From about the 7-yard line. He'll get up to the 20. So a short return. Oh, 25, excuse me. I was going to say a short return, then thankfully the camera panned over and was like, oh, that's the 20-yard line. The 25. So good starting field position for Cleveland. A nice run back. And we'll see what... it's Kerry Collins, I believe.
Strong move.
What he does after throwing the interception on the last drive. They're going to take the ball out of his hands completely and hand it off. Good job by the Seahawks defense to stretch that to the outside. Not the greatest tackling in the world, but that is all right. When there's 6 defenders in the area, one of them's bound to get a tackle.
He tucks it away. Number 55 gets
nice.
right in there and brings him down. Tomlins was stuffed on that play, John.
They're just relentless when the offense decides to run the ball. They break down blocks very quickly. And they do a good job maintaining.
Cleveland's coach lost all confidence in the quarterback.
And they'll face a long third down.
And so now Seattle gets their defense gets 2 runs on first and second down. And now it's a third down and 12 with an obvious passing situation. Throws left side, and it got tipped and almost picked.
Fourth down.
It's going to be a 3 and out, so Cleveland looked so good on that opening drive. And when they got the ball back after Seattle's failure, I thought, like, oh no, we might be in for a bit of a spanking here from Cleveland to Seattle, but hasn't turned out that way. That interception completely changed the complexion of this game. And we'll see if the coach of the Cleveland Browns gets more confidence in his quarterback. They're going to let him throw the ball in situations that aren't obvious passing downs. We'll find out here as the second quarter is about to begin. 7-7 your score after a pretty exciting first quarter. Live here on youtube.com/ShaunosaurusRex. Not really live, pre-recorded, but for your enjoyment on youtube.com/ShaunosaurusRex, be sure to scroll down, subscribe, ring the bell.
He's calling an audible.
Thought he was calling a timeout for some reason.
Tosses it out to the right.
So a 1st and 10, they're going to try a little toss play. McAllister with a nice spin move. It took a lot to bring him down. Picked up half of it. 2nd and 5 coming up.
2nd and 4 coming up here. Ball on their own 35. Directing traffic. Pressure.
Manning drops and throws left side. He almost throws an interception.
Yeah, he had an excellent opportunity to end the drive right there. He just couldn't bring it in.
The quarterback lines up with 2 backs behind him.
Ball on the 35-yard line.
He sees something in the defense.
3rd and 4 here for Manning and the Seahawks. He's going to throw it out to the flat. It was a pretty good tackle. He was right on top of it, but McAllister with a good job falling forward. He'll pick up the 1st down.
1st and 10. Looks like he's calling an audible. Just about 2 yards on the run by the halfback.
Nope, it's a copywritten song. Talk over the top of it real quick. Didn't say anything. All right, good job, Sean.
The backs are lined up in an eye. Manning gets set, directing traffic.
2nd down and 8.
McAllister. The back picks up about 2
Kind
on
of
that
got
carry.
spun backwards that time, and they'll give him a short gain, but it'll be 3rd down and long here. 3rd and 6.
It's 3rd down and 6 to go.
See what Holmgren calls up here on this 3rd down.
Looks like he's changing the play.
Doesn't matter because Manning keeps changing the play. Gonna go with a play action pass. Manning steps and throws right at the feet of the defender. It was either too tall for a running back or a receiver, over the, like a shallow route over the middle, or too short. That was a really ugly play. Manning, not the man you want throwing on the run.
Going. He's back to punt. Here's the punt. This one goes out of bounds.
Be interesting to see where this ball gets spotted as it was kicked out of bounds. At the 26-yard line's not terrible. Ideally, you would want it a little bit different, or a little bit deeper, I should say. All right, Cleveland. Do you trust your quarterback to throw a pass here on an early down? No. I guess when you have LaJainian and Tomlinson, it's a little easier to just go, no, we're going to turn around and hand the ball off. But he was so good on that first drive. I'm surprised that one mistake.
2nd and 6 coming up here. Ball on their own 30.
I mean, caused this much of a shift in the game plan.
Tomlinson under pressure.
We're going to go with a play action pass, throw to the right. It's going to be tipped, and that actually stayed in bounds. The receiver actually had a shot to get the catch on the backside of that tip, but no such luck. It'll be 3rd down.
Seattle comes out in their nickel package. Throws it.
Collins drops and throws. He finds a receiver who had it in his hands but dropped it. A terrible turn of events there. He found his receiver.
But the guy on the other end can't come up with it.
No, no.
Williams lines up in the backfield for the punt. Here's the punt.
Punt is away.
And he chooses not to return.
Gonna go for a fair catch right at about the 25-yard line. Right at about. Exactly at about. Nope, yellow card's back. Everyone enjoy it. I think they were on tour doing their 20th anniversary. Which, like, damn. That album's 20 years old? I saw, this is a weird one, but Switchfoot also was like, we're going to re-record The Beautiful Letdown our way. It's like, oh, okay. I didn't realize you wanted it a different way. That was an album I listened to a lot as a young teenager.
But a defender pushes you out
Beautiful
while you're up in
Letdown.
the air. And that clearly didn't happen there.
I don't remember loving it. Some of those albums in the first, like the first few years of the 2000s, especially stuff that I listened to, felt more like a collection of songs that people liked, but didn't necessarily have an ebb or a flow to it. And I think that that album is kind of the same way.
He hesitated just a little. By the time he
But it was
decided where he
also
wanted to go with it,
just
the defense was
before
all over him.
or just before I had discovered other music that wasn't like
It's third
specifically
down and they have a long way to go. Ball on their own 22.
like diehard Christian music.
Manning gets set. Calling an audible now.
And they put way too much crap on here. There you go. Just put the albums. I don't. All of these have like 3 different versions. That is so annoying. Oh my goodness, he slid through a couple of tackles and finally gets taken down at the 49-yard line. Nice run. Run after the catch there for the Seahawks. And that's a good start for this Seahawks drive. I feel like they had a big song on this
The
album.
quarterback gets set with only
Stars?
one back
Yeah, that
behind
sounds
him.
right.
50-yard line.
Manning sets up. Stevens, the motion
God,
man.
I recognize some of these. I think I actually might have bought 2 Switchfoot
So
albums.
2 minutes left before halftime.
'Cause I think I had Sound is Nothing. And I kind of recognize Oh Gravity. But by that point, I had very much moved on from that. Because I mean, that's
Gets
2000.
set. He sees something
Beautiful
in the
Letdown
defense.
2003. Nothing is Sound 2005. Oh Gravity 2006.
Looking to run it here.
I was gone. I was out of here. See ya.
Overthrowing the receiver.
That pass was thrown with so much velocity on it.
I think the
the
only
receiver never
band
caught
that would
up
have
with it.
realistically
One thing you wanna
survived any
prevent
sort
as
of
a
shift
defense is
between
letting the quarterback
what
get
I
into a
listened to
rhythm,
in
especially in a
2003
hurried situation.
and
So they
like
may try and throw a few things
2006
at
or
it,
7
like a
would have
blitz or
been
a change of coverage,
Reliant
and see if
K.
he can adjust to it quickly.
But even then, like that was kind of when they, it
I thought that was about to be picked off.
was
John.
like
He
5
didn't
score
pick
and
it off,
7
but at least he
years
didn't
ago
let
or
the
whatever.
receiver make the catch
Like
either.
that wasn't a great
Pretty
album.
good effort.
Even
The
they were
defense
getting kind of
can't
phased
suffer
out
a
at that point.
letdown 'cause they've done a
And I
great
mean
job
bands
the
that
last 2
put out
plays to
new
force
stuff.
the
There was
situation.
some older albums
One
that
more
kind
great play,
of stuck
but should
around, like
get
the
him
Bear
ball
Truth About
back with some
Fillmore.
time to work with.
But anyway,
Calling an audible.
tune in every week for more musical history from me. I got that in my suggestions today. And I'm kind of curious about, like, I don't know if they're just releasing the album. It looked like they were doing some kind of, like, documentary sort of thing about, like, the making of the album was a little tougher than, because they had gotten signed to, like, a major label, and then they made that album, and then they got dropped before it even came out. And it's like, that sounds interesting. That part is cool. But also, I don't know. Anyway. All right, it's 4th and 16. Seahawks look like they were going to have a promising start to that drive, but
Here's the kick
that kind of petered out. Now Cleveland will get another shot at him.
from the 19.
Punt return, he gets around the first guy, but the second guy takes a better angle and is able to take
Hey,
him
even if it
down.
doesn't seem like much, positive yards on a return is better than nothing.
It'll be 1st and 10 from the 20, like 7.5. They were right in between the The 25 and the 30.
With the pass,
Collins.
nice adjustment.
There you go.
The rush was on, but it's a
Grips
nice
it
gain
and
thanks
rips
to a
it. We'll
nice
see a
throw.
timeout here at the 1 minute mark, as we always do. This
This
one isn't as bad because it was at 102, so it wasn't.
And that's exactly what happened on that play.
It was still going to take another 4 or 5 seconds to get to snapping the ball.
Drops back. Pressure. Gets rid
Second
of
down and 1. Collins throws right
This
side,
pass is
finds a
incomplete.
receiver in
Ooh, what a
contested.
huge hit.
Looking for a
Calls the
contested catch, but
incomplete.
can't come
Yeah,
up
so
with
good,
it.
It knocked the ball right out of his hand. Time for the defense to
Solid
play up
hit
tight
by
and
the
buck those receivers.
Seahawks
If they do
defense, and it'll be
that,
third
they
down
can
and
disrupt
1.
any short patterns that the quarterback is
If
planning
you're
on
Cleveland,
throwing
you
to.
just run this ball, get the first down, snap it, or get to the line and snap it as quickly as possible. I like the call, except for they didn't get it, so Seattle's going to take a timeout. It'll be 4th down and 1 with 54 seconds to go.
They have great size and
Wow.
pace up front.
I loved what they were
Hold
doing
up
there.
against the run, while also giving them the speed to rush the passer when they drop back to
Just
pass.
snap it, get the yardage, and get down as quickly as possible. Timeout's fine there, I guess, but hurry to the line, tell everybody to kind of stay
There's
close.
No need to try and return that one. So he made the right decision there.
McAllister.
Time running out, they'll try to set their kicker up into position to put them out in front going into the locker room.
Takes the fair catch. It'll be 1st and 10 for Seattle now. And this was where we saw the other game slow down as well today with the Falcons and the Texans. It was the 2-minute warning to the end of the first half. There's a nice find.
How about that?
Seattle will take a timeout.
Individual effort.
He throws
1st and 10
lasers all
again.
over the field. He can throw them short, he can throw them long, he can throw them medium, he can throw them anyway.
Dropping back to pass on first down. Pressure
Oh,
coming.
Manning somehow gets out of all of that. That's a bad
About
catch.
6 to go.
It's
Ball
okay
on
for you
their
to
own
drop that
33.
one. It's only a 4-yard gain, burning a lot of clock here. Manning did a great job to evade all the pressure there, but didn't do a great job getting to the line.
Again, guns it
Manning
out to the
throws, diving attempt at a catch, and it's incomplete. 3rd and 6
Doesn't
coming
help
up.
the quarterback's confidence
Kind
when
of a
he gets the ball
disaster.
to
Again,
his
Seattle
receiver,
started
but
good.
he can't hang on.
Nice play,
He's gotta
1st and
know
10 to
he
1st
can
and
count on
10.
him to make the catch.
And then
Good routes
a
by the
4-yard
receivers
gain
will
that
be the key if
sucked
they're
a
hoping to
ton
get
of time
this
off the
first.
clock.
I wouldn't be surprised to see their back
They need
square out
probably
towards the
20,
sideline,
25 yards.
especially if there's a blitz.
Drops back. Pressure. Gets rid of it. Hits him on the
Manning's going to find a receiver up past
Runs that
midfield.
pass in there.
And they will
Yes, he got
run,
it in there in a hurry,
rush
and
to the
they
line.
pick up
Actually,
enough
could take a
for first
timeout
down.
there. That was a
Good
little
play by the
weird, but
secondary
whatever.
will be a key to whether or not this
Who's-
thing goes into
what are they,
the
down
half
to
and
1
tie
left?
ball game.
Only one man back.
Ball on the 48-yard line.
Is that all you got? Ain't got nothing.
Calling it audible. Galloway, the motion man.
They got nothing. All you got.
Under pressure. With
Manning with a nice find over the middle. He'll get that up near the 35-yard line. Likely see a snap and a spike. And then we should see a field goal attempt here. They're going to actually have this in
Will stop the clock.
pretty perfect time. Normally they like to stop the clock at about 9 seconds, and it still gives you them... it would still give the opposing team an opportunity at a kick return for a touchdown off of the kickoff, but
They'll have to really get it because it'll be about a 53-yard attempt. And it's on its way.
kick is up, and the kick is going to be shorts off the front of the goalpost. They needed 2 yards maybe, and that field goal might just have been the difference. Is
Seattle
3 to
looking
6
for the
feet.
pass as they line up with 7 defensive backs.
But put a good stroke into it. I wasn't sure. Sometimes we see it and they just look really, really bad. Collins tries to get a big throw off, but can't get it. And a scoreless second quarter comes to a close. And the half comes to a close with a 7-7 game.
We'll go to the locker room with the score even. Seattle 7, Cleveland 7. Let's take a look at our halftime.
Here are your halftime stats. Seattle with a slight advantage, especially in the first down category. Cleveland might have burned all their positive energy coming out of the first coming out of the tunnel in the first half and ripping those passes down the field for the first score. Otherwise, it's been awfully quiet for them.
The Seahawks will start the drive from the 26. So they have 1st and 10 here. Ball on their own 26.
Hand off to Deuce McAllister, who for some reason spun inside, and he was clear off that right side of the line. I don't know, for whatever reason, they just went back into the mess in the...
Manning sees something in the defense. McAllister couldn't get out of the backfield.
McAllister off to a great start here in the second half.
When your defensive guys up front can control the line of scrimmage, it makes it very difficult to move the ball on offense.
Here is a 3rd and long situation. Ball on their own 27. He sees something in the defense.
So 3rd down and 9. Manning is going to shift into something. He's going to throw left side, and it's incomplete. Actually found the receiver in between 2 defenders. He threw that ball like just short enough to give his receiver a good shot at it, but could not come up with the catch. And that'll do it for the Seahawks' first drive of the 3rd quarter. Neither team looking great here coming out of the locker room.
Here's the punt. This one sets up nicely. It could be big.
34-yard punt. Return for a gain of 3 yards.
Fumble. Loose ball. It's scooped up. Great play by the defense to recover the fumble.
Yeah, they were right there to jump on the ball.
So it's 1st and 10 following the fumble.
Sideline to sideline. Ain't got nothing.
Manning sees something in the defense. He gets the count. A yard, maybe 2 on the carry.
On the run, gain of 2 on the play.
Only one man back.
7. Ball on the 47-yard line.
Directing traffic. Closing in. The pass is picked off. Just won't go down. The defender was all over that one.
He just stepped in front of that one. He saw his opportunity, and boom, he took it.
Following the interception, it's now 1st and 10. Receives the handle. The back picks up about 2 on that carry. So here's how each team has done protecting the ball, or lack thereof, perhaps. And they need about 9. Ball on the 39-yard line. Collins gets set. The Browns using motion. Pressure with the throw. Good throw. The 30. Penalty marker down.
Just in time for a delicious clipping call on what was a fantastic play.
Obviously, that guy needed to show more discipline than that out there.
It's like, oh man, I came back, I sat down. Cleveland, snap at the ball. Finds a receiver over the middle. A penalty. I wonder if that's going to be, clipping. 2nd and 24 instead of 1st and 10.
Drops back. Under pressure, gets the pass off.
Oh
Big
my
time play by
goodness.
Bennett.
And that's the type of thing that
Wow.
can happen when you get this guy the ball. He's going to move the ball, and he's going
That
to
is
move it
the
with
third
speed.
down in distance, like whatever down in distance of 15 plus yards that has been picked up on one play. That was a 2nd and 24. They were in such a good spot to not give up a first down, and they just could not tackle on the back end. Cleveland's going to find a bunch of room off this left side, and still nobody can take the Cleveland receiver, or the Cleveland ball carrier down.
Found the right hole.
Tomlinson,
Downfield
9
and pick
rushes,
up a first
25
down.
yards. What, 10 on that one? 9, 10 on that one?
It's 1st and 10. Ball on the 17-yard
So he was
line.
looking at, what, 8 rushes for 15 yards?
Whit comes in motion.
Ball on the 17-yard line.
Tosses it left.
Pitch to the left side. He's going to cut it inside smartly.
Picks up about 3.
That'll help
Now
him
let's
get
have
at least a
look at what
couple
our
there.
Runners have done up to this point.
2nd and 8. Ball on the 15-yard line.
Branch goes in motion.
2nd and 8. Offset I formation.
Pressure coming.
Drops back,
With the
throws
pass.
left side,
He'll
finds the
pick up that
receiver's
man.
arms, and
6-yard
that's going to be a
line.
first down.
3 times
First
on
and
this drive.
goal
They've been
here.
able to pick up a first down.
Yeah, and the thing is, they'll be doing
And
more than
Collins
just
is
picking
getting
up
back
first
into that
downs.
rhythm that we
If
saw
this
early in the
success
game.
continues, they're gonna be
Just
picking
ripping
up
it
some
and
points.
finding receivers. Receivers found their hands, apparently. They quit eating Butterfingers on the sidelines, coming up with catches. And it is 1st and goal for the Cleveland Browns with an offset I formation here.
Tosses it out to the left.
Pitch left side. It's going to find some room, bounce off some tacklers, but a good job to at least try to stretch him east-west there a little bit. I guess technically that would be the runners west.
So it's 2nd and goal.
Either way, a nice job to prevent the touchdown. 2nd down and 10, or 2nd down and goal, excuse me.
Sends a man in motion.
The Seattle have what it takes to get a goal line stand here. In the backfield, Tomlinson looks like he ran into his own offensive lineman.
Game for a play or two.
3rd tackle for Kelly today. They'll give him credit for it.
This is it. Sideline to sideline.
Hands the ball off, tries right side, nothing doing. Great goal line stand by the Seattle Seahawks to force a field goal attempt. Stuff the run 3 straight times. A little surprised to not see Ladini and Tomlinson in the backfield on a big 3rd down like that.
So this will be a 23-yard field
And
goal.
take your best shot sign's a little weird.
Kick is up. The field goal attempt is good. The
10-play,
Browns now
33-yard
leading
drive took
by
over
a
3
slim
minutes, and they get 3 points. After 3 failed runs, it all comes down to threes. 19 seconds to go here in the 3rd quarter. 10-7, Cleveland with the lead. Seattle hasn't done anything with the exception of that interception drive, or the drive that followed the interception, and that was a very short drive to
Williams.
score
He's back and
the
ready to
touchdown.
put this one in the air. Good kick, should be returnable.
Kick is away. From the 7, up past the 10, the 20, the 25, trying to stretch it to the outside and get the corner. But a solid run back.
On both sides of the ball. So I could
We'll
see
still
this one
have,
getting
we'll let the
decided by whoever has
we'll have the
last possession.
Seahawks starting at the 27-yard line.
Quarterback gets set with only one back
16
behind him.
seconds to go here. What's been an okay game. It's one of those weird games where I don't think it's been like, it's not like a great defensive game like we saw between the Texans and Patriots last week. And hasn't been a good offensive game like we saw like all the way back in like week 1 between the Packers and the Vikings. It's a bad offensive game with like spots of brightness. But the defenses have come up. It's just kind of one of those. It's been good. Thankfully, it hasn't been a blowout.
10. Seattle 7. The teams are set for the fourth quarter of play. Only one man back.
6. Ball on the 32-yard line.
Manning directing traffic, using motion.
Sideline to sideline.
McAllister trying to find some room, stiff arming some people, and working his way out toward the
Defense is
40-yard
susceptible to
line.
that kind of thing. They're very aggressive, and the counter is designed to take advantage of that. You get them all going in one direction, then you cut back against the grain.
So they have 1st and 10 here.
Get in there. Yeah. Got the ball.
Throwing on 1st down.
Manning drops back to pass, throws left side, finds a receiver right at midfield, and it'll be
That
1st
showed
and 10.
awareness by the receiver. He knew just where he had to go to get the 1st down, crossed the marker, and then looked for more.
They line up in the I formation. Again with the carry.
1st and 10 right up the middle. McAllister picking up 10. 1st and 10 to 1st and 10.
That's just
Seahawks
good running. They sent a couple of blitzes.
doing a good job here, just pounding it down, pounding the rock down their throats.
For a 1st down.
Oh, McCaffrey's on this team. Interesting.
Ball on the 40-yard line.
Hands the ball off, and they're going to again find a solid hole on the offensive line and pick up another solid gain. It's like a gain of about 8. 2nd and 2. Turn around and keep handing this ball off to Deuce McAllister until they can stop you. Good news for the Seahawks as they are already in field goal range. They're going to go off with a run to the right side. Not as much room that time. Opening got closed up pretty quickly. And it'll be 3rd down and short.
He has a fast 1st step. He can explode through the hole. But he needs a line to create that little crease or cutback lane to break free.
Dropping back.
Going to give the ball to Manning. Nice job by McAllister to pick up the block, but it doesn't matter. All the good effort was for nothing as the receiver dropped the ball, wasting everyone's time and effort. I mean, McAllister, I thought it was going to be a sack, and then he stepped in the way and gave Manning just enough time to get the ball out of his hand, only for the receiver to just put on the butter-covered gloves.
Through the uprights and good.
Kick is up and kick is good. 49-yard field goal by Hall. 8-play, 39-yard drive. We'll tie the game up and they'll send the ball back to Cleveland with 3:27 to go here in quarter number 4.
Hall is just about ready to kick this one away.
Number 83, back deep to return.
Nice kick. Plenty of distance. From the 5.
From the 5 up to the 20.
Browns will start the drive from 21.
Number 22 on the return.
So they have 1st and 10 here. Throwing on
1st down and 10.
pressure.
Throws to the flat. Finds a running back with a lot of speed. It's LaDainian Tomlinson. A lot of speed, no Seahawks in sight.
Out there playing a little pitch and catch.
The quarterback gets set with only one back
Ball
behind him.
on the 38-yard line.
Ain't no. Get up, Rob. You got him.
Collins sets up. Jackson in motion. About a 2-yard gain here.
Ball carrier. Gain of 2 on the
Seahawks
run.
defense tightens up and gives up fewer yards on that run. Or that LaDainian Tomlinson touch, I should say. The first one was a pass. 2nd down and 8. Collins is going to slip out of the tackle, but he stepped up and either ran into a defender or... Oh, good. We're going to get a replay here because I thought he was sacked right here. And then he just kind of fell forward, spun down. That was a real weird-looking tackle. But that is a terrific time to come up with a loss of yards like that. I don't think we've seen either of the quarterbacks get hit too much today.
It's now 3rd and long after the sack. Gets rid of it.
Collins over the middle, and it's either, regardless of if it's a completion or incompletion. Oh, that man's frozen.
Like that call was just a give up.
It's going to be 4th down. So Cleveland approaching the 2-minute warning here, which they don't actually have to punt the ball until it hits.
For a good punt here.
It's going to give Seattle possession with 2 minutes and 3 timeouts.
Here's the catch. And he signals for the fair catch.
And they're going to get a 4th timeout.
Coverage team closing in for a big hit.
Wow. Poor clock management by the Cleveland Browns. Seattle's going to get a free timeout with the 2-minute warning.
Ball on their own 17.
You let that run all the way down to 2 minutes. Or you force Seattle to take a timeout at like 2:30. Go with a run.
Pickup of about a yard.
And that'll do it. There's your 2-minute warning. They tried to go McAllister off that left side. And I wonder if the game just kind of doesn't understand like the difference between under 2 minutes and like just above 2 minutes. Now we should see them shift into some form of the hurry-up offense. But I don't know if the game understands that like they should probably be doing that slightly before as well.
Pressure coming. Slings it out to the left.
Throws it out to McCaffrey on the left side. Picks up about, 6? So it's 3rd down and 2.
They can break free and wait for the pass to get there.
Drops back.
The poor ref is stuck in the middle of everything. They're going to find a receiver. A Browns defender fell down on the back side of that. Not sure what happened, but when number 44 caught that pass and turned upfield, there was just a Cleveland defender on the ground. Throws it over the middle to number 44 again, and that time he can't quite come up with the catch.
Bounced off his hands.
The defense has to force a punt to give their team a last-minute shot to win this game. Passing right.
Oh, that's a terrible throw. I don't even know what happened there. Just kind of a disastrous play from the start.
3rd and 10. Ball on the 43-yard line.
Drops back.
Manning drops, looks, fires left side. He turns up field, and he's going to convert the 3rd and 10 into a 1st down inside the 35-yard line. Cleveland will take a timeout after that big play. The defense could not get off the field. Seattle's offensive line and the running backs who have stayed in the block have been tremendous at giving Manning time. The receivers have just kind of been the weak link here for the Seahawks today, much like they were a weak link for the Texans in the last game, leading to a Texans loss. They come up with a completion there. McAllister comes up with a big run right there, and Cleveland's going to take their 2nd timeout. It'll be 2nd down and 1.
2nd and 1. Ball on the 24-yard line.
Man in motion. To the tailback.
Hand the ball off, and that's a 1st down. McAllister and Seattle, they don't have to do anything else. A touchdown gives Cleveland an opportunity to get back in this game, but a 1st down, that's going to end it. I mean, that's Cleveland's 3rd and final timeout. They're in field goal range.
They just need some positive running plays to take time off the clock and set up the field goal to win it.
Galloway, the motion man. We'll get the call again.
McAllister
Running back picks up
down to about the 10-yard line. I think in today's game you would probably see the quarterback just take a couple of knees here, because the defense might actually just open the seas and go, no, you can score. Try and push him into the end zone.
Seattle will call a timeout here. They have 2 timeouts remaining.
Why? Oh, Madden, you dumb idiot
Within
game.
scoring distance.
There's no reason for them to take a timeout.
Calling an audible.
They're in the perfect situation to just run this clock down. If they take another timeout after this play, I'm going to lose my mind. I mean, it doesn't matter. They did! Oh my god! Why is this game scripted this way? Are you kidding me?
Results in a first down. They're in field goal range now. Do they take a shot at the end zone or just play it safe and run it?
They have enough time to throw one. But it all depends on your confidence in your
Oh
kicker.
my
If you
goodness,
think he can make it from
Seattle.
here on in, then you can just
I
run
mean,
it
the way
and
this
give him
game
a
is
chance to
is
prove you're
quite
right.
literally scripted at the base level.
Touchdown.
They're going to score a touchdown, but they're giving Cleveland 55 seconds.
The offense has been
We have
knocking
seen
on
some
the door,
devastating
and
losses
now they just kicked
this
it
season.
down.
Will we see another one?
Carry and put it in for
Oh
6
my
for the second
god.
time.
There was no reason for them to take a timeout at 1 minute. Let it run. The game must be written. Oh no. What am I? Everything's good? I accidentally hit the space bar. I don't know what that would have done. The recording's still going. Everything's fine. Kick is good. I mean, they should have won this game 13-10 as the clock expired.
Hall will be kicking off.
Is lined up for the kickoff. Number 83, back to return.
It's on its way. From the 12. Cleveland heads out onto the field, trailing by a touchdown.
What is this mouse?
Time
Mouse,
is a
what are you
factor,
doing?
but I think they can still use the middle of the field.
First and 10. Looking for an option. Gets rid of it.
Out to the left side. Oh my god. He's at the 40, the 30, the 20. He's pulling away. The 10, 5. Touchdown, Cleveland.
That's a huge play by the quarterback.
This game is so stupid. Why would you do this to me?
To put some points on the board.
Oh my god. So far we've seen the Bengals lose to the Bills in a game that they should have won. We saw the Cowboys lose to the Bucks in a game that the Cowboys should have won. They threw the ball inexplicably and threw an interception and lost themselves the game. And now we have
Gets set for the
Seattle
extra point.
perhaps on the verge of doing something similar.
And it's up. The point after is good.
The game
John,
is
these
scripted
teams
to
are
be
very
like if
evenly matched.
This makes
if
for a better
the
game, I
game
think.
if the team
strategy
is
of the game
losing
comes
or
into play here
tied
more.
with possession at 1 minute, take timeout regardless. And it has to have more nuance than that. It is unfathomable that they would take a timeout in that scenario. It's 2nd and 3. You got to run 2 more plays. Oh my goodness.
Williams comes in to kick off.
Lined up for the kickoff. Number 84, back to return.
Not a bad kick. They'll set up for the return.
This show's the best. 5 yards deep in the end zone. All of a sudden, we're NFL Fever 2004.
The offense with
Or
a lot
3.
of success through the air on the last drive.
NFL
as they
2000
move downfield
NFL Fever
for the
2004 is
touchdown.
next. Starting about 2 months from now, actually. Oh my god, Independence Day?
McAllister, the lone back. Pressure coming. Gets the pass off.
Okay, so he finds a receiver.
Perfect pass. Great catch.
Gets up to the
Not a good
35-yard
Let's see
line.
how this defense handles the no-huddle.
Seattle might actually be out of timeouts. Manning drops back. All kinds of pressure coming. He's going to find a receiver up past the 50 at the 49. They need 15 yards, 20 yards maybe.
They just couldn't convert
Whatever,
the ball
basically
in
whatever the
time.
field goal
Now
that they
they've got
missed
a whole
earlier in the
new set of
game,
downs.
plus 2 yards. We got a sack here, but it's an offsides penalty. Oh my goodness, Cleveland.
They pulled the defense
Offsides on
and got the
Overstreet
first
is
down.
going to wipe out the sack and give them a 1st and 5. And I do believe that it is going to stop the clock here.
They need to hurry to get into field goal range.
But when it's tied, you don't want to force
Seattle going to get
turn it over.
incredibly lucky to
need
win this
smart
game,
throws
but
here.
they should have won for sure.
Passing on first down. Throwing.
Manning throws left side. It's intercepted. We're going to overtime.
Makes a spectacular defensive grab.
That's the type of play that will really give the defense some momentum when they come back on the field.
Oh, my God.
Interception. It's now 1st and 10.
Unless Cleveland doesn't have any timeouts, so they have to get a pass 20 yards down the field to the sideline. That almost got caught on the backside and would have given them a shot. And I think that was it. They had one shot for Collins to drop back and find a receiver down near the opposing 40 and try to get it there. I mean, that's a 57-yard field goal. Collins can't get anything going in the backfield that time. We're going to see a replay here. Free rusher off the right side of the line, and that should do it here for regulation.
Relying on the defensive front to create pressure on the quarterback.
Unbelievably terrible clock management from the Seattle Seahawks, and bad defense let the Browns back into this game. It should have been a 13-10 victory. Seattle should be 6-6, fighting for a playoff spot. Cleveland would have fallen to 4-7. They would have needed a lot of help, but they are in a competitive AFC North division, which does help their case a little bit. Instead, it doesn't matter, because what happened was Seattle scored a touchdown, then gave up a touchdown, took 2 of the worst timeouts we've probably ever seen, and they're going to give Cleveland the ball back, where we have the best, most goodest overtime rules in the history of the NFL, where a field goal can win the game.
Just a great game to this point, and we head to a 5th period.
Oh, man.
Hand off to the tailback. Breaking
And LaDainian Tomlinson, they just let him just run free up the middle? Are you kidding me? Oh, yeah, you're the best running back in the league, or one of the best running backs in the league. Here's a wide open, Moses has parted the seas of offensive linemen for you.
Ball on their own 40.
Like that, they're up to the 40-yard line.
1st and 10. Ball on the 40.
They'll pass on first down. Pressure coming.
Collins is going to take a sack, and that is the second very weird sack animation that he has had. He's not getting, like, blown up. He's not really even getting tackled. He just kind of gets hit and, like, stumbles forward until he eventually falls down.
It's 2nd down and a long way to go. Ball on their own 34. They'll go from the shotgun.
Long. Ball on the 34-yard line.
Closing in with the pass.
That
One of his
pass
other
is
options appeared to be
wily and
wide open on
incomplete.
that play, John. He
Should be
just never
3rd
saw it.
down
He's
coming
got
up.
to do a better job of reading the defense and going through his progression. You can't lock in on one guy and try and force it to him. He has to know that other guys in the offense can make plays out there too. The defense really bears
3rd down and 16.
down.
This is the time for Seattle to get off the field. Just kidding.
At the 43.
It's a conversion for a first down.
Yeah, you know, we talk about putting a ball on a guy. The quarterback put that ball
Oh.
on the receiver perfectly.
First and 10. Ball on the 43-yard line. And this is the 5th play of this drive. Pressure with the throw.
Throws over the middle, finds a wide open receiver.
That'll move the chains.
That should be it, honestly. Like, Cleveland does not need to run another play.
That's exactly what you're going to get.
They're looking at a 42-yard field goal, something like that. I think they still have
They
the
line up
offense
the I
in.
formation.
Maybe pick up a few more yards.
Man in motion.
Tomlinson off the left side, slips a tackler, he gets the corner, he's into Seattle territory, or deep into Seattle territory,
This guy absolutely
probably into the red zone. My goodness. Terrific pancake block there, and they're down near the end zone. They might just score a touchdown to just cap it off. I mean, I don't know why you would. Hansen 1 for 1 for 23 yards.
This is it. One chance, one kick to win the game. And it's on its way. Splits the uprights and good. Another successful field goal try gives him his second.
Oh my goodness, we've seen some awful losses. Awful losses in this season. The two that I mentioned specifically. This one might be the worst. I think the Cowboys might be the dumbest one. But this one is just inexcusable. Like, the game is fundamentally flawed in how it does the timeouts. If it's just making teams call timeout wow. All right, so we'll keep this one in our back pocket. We'll also have to keep in mind I don't think it's going to affect the Cowboys as much because they still have performed very well. And they're in a weak division, so it would have just probably been some seeding stuff. But if Seattle misses the playoffs by like just a game, or if Cincinnati is not able to make it, those two games, Cincinnati-Buffalo and Seattle-Cleveland, I mean, could very well alter the teams that are in the playoff. I can't handle it. That's gotta be the worst loss we have ever seen. 70 whatever weeks of this, hundreds of games. I think I even did the math when I wrote a different description for one of them. It's like the most painful loss I've ever seen in 200 whatever games. I think they topped it. I can't believe it.
As the Bengals get set to take on the Steelers.
So, the Cleveland Browns, they get some help. They improve to 6-6. They get additional help. I mean, they get help because they took care of business. But they also get help because the Houston Texans fell to 6-6 as well. The Steelers are 6-5 ahead of them. And the Bengals lead the AFC North at 7-4. The Steelers can match the Bengals at 7-5, and that would leave Cleveland just a game out of first place.
Now, whether or not he'll be able to against this defense is something we'll be paying a lot of attention to.
But could really adjust the wild card participants depending on tiebreakers and such.
Ready for this one.
Both teams have taken the field, and let's see what happens now as we're ready for the kickoff.
Oh, you can see the...
Akers will be kicking off.
To start the game. Number 85.
Good kick, should be returnable. From the 8-yard line. Let's see how effective they can be with their first drive of the game.
All right, third and final game of the day. As always, standings, scores coming your way after this one.
On their own 22.
We'll move on to week 14 next. Next Tuesday right here on youtube.com/ShaunaSourceRex. My mouse, hello, please, would you look? Toss and a really nice play defensively, except for he got 15 yards worth of face mask. Left outside linebacker number 45. Not a great start for him today. Giving up a free first down.
The offense loves it when the defense does something illegal out there. Not only do they get some free yardage, but the officials will be keeping a close eye out for more stuff like that for the rest of the game.
First and 10. Ball on their own 34. Get set.
Come on, partner. Hawkeye right.
to the tailback. Only a yard by the halfback. The Steelers appear to have a big advantage on the defensive side of the ball, John. So what about the other guys? What are they going to try to do offensively?
I'd expect to see him keep them off balance. You know, some draws, some reverses, some screens, things like that that are designed to take away their pursuit and aggressiveness.
Gets the pass off. The 40 misses the kick. The fullback was on the receiving end.
And he's a good option coming out of the backfield. He can do a lot more than just block. He can catch it out of the backfield, carry it, and heck, I've even seen him.
John Kitna leading this Steelers team out on the field today. Looking for a tie of first place in the AFC North.
Tosses it out to the left.
It's a nice job by Cincinnati. Both times we've seen Pittsburgh try to stretch the run to the sidelines. Cincinnati's done a good job of matching them there. Doing a good job forcing them left and right instead of up or down. Unfortunately, the 15-yard penalty happened on the first play, so technically a positive play for the Steelers. They did have that nice pass to convert a 2nd and 9 to a 1st and 10. 2-yard loss sets up 2nd down and 12. Fires over the middle, and that is actually a catch. You don't see a lot of these diving catches here, but he does come up with it somehow, even though it was inside the other man's arm.
In the backfield.
3rd down and 6. Play action pass, throws, and the receiver does a nice job positioning himself in front of the defender. Coming up with that catch there. Good call on that. Looks like the timing was maybe a little bit off. Like the receiver maybe turned too early.
It's 1st and 10. Ball on the 31-yard line.
1st and 10 in Bengals territory. They're going to get in the backfield and they'll force an incomplete pass. No fumble, no sack, no intentional grounding. Just an incomplete pass that sets up 2nd down and 10.
Either a tight end on the line or a back that can help them out with their protection.
They go with a handoff to the right side.
Gain of 9 on the play.
Might be a Terrell Davis sighting. So last time we had the Steelers on. I want to say
3rd and maybe 2.
2 weeks ago? No, last week. Oh wow, we had a lot of repeat teams today, but that's all right. That's all right. Nice job by the Cincinnati Bengals to bend but not break. Coming through on a 3rd down and short and getting the stop. T. Davis. Tackled in the backfield, and it will be a 4th down field goal attempt here on a field that a lot of people do not like.
Ritchie, an attempt to put up the first points of the day. And it's up.
Kick is away, and it is good. 43-yard field goal for Ritchie there. And that'll put Pittsburgh on top 3-0.
Maynard comes in to kick off. And a short kickoff. From the 10-yard
return from nearly the 10-yard line. Confidence going up and past that 20-yard line, which is usually where we see the confused kind of stutter step. It'll be 1st down and 10. And our first look at the Bengals offense today from the 24-yard line.
Going to the air on 1st down. Gets the pass off.
That is off the back of the intended receiver and almost bounced into a couple of waiting arms for the Pittsburgh Steelers there.
It's 2nd down and 10 to go. Ball on their own 24. surveys the field.
Drops back and throws over the middle. Find a receiver for a solid gain there. There might be a Donald Driver.
Hard to find. This
Green
guy
Bay
looks like he's a
Packer
keeper.
Donald Driver, perhaps? Is it Hasselbeck? The quarterback for the Bengals? With a handoff off the right side, and he will kind of wriggle and slither his way up
This is
through
thing.
the
With
line
these
there.
misdirection plays,
Find
the back
just enough
starts
room
one
to get
way,
a first
and then
down.
comes back the other way, and right there it worked pretty good.
Pretty solid run there.
First and 10. Ball on their own 38. Hasselbeck sets up. Looking upfield. Maybe a
Spun
yard
down
on the
after a
play.
gain of a couple.
1 yard gain on the play.
Hurst in the backfield.
Ball on the 38-yard
Pressure coming.
Drops
Slings
back
it
and
to the
fires to the flat.
And the catch
It was
is made.
really well read by that Steelers defender. Saw where that ball was going, drove to it, and made the tackle. A little too much air under that pass from the Bengals quarterback. They're going to get lucky and they didn't gain or lose anything. And we're going to see
There's a flag on the play.
it's a false start.
So it's 3rd and long now.
It was weird that it popped up fourth down there. It was really weird that it did that. Fourth down is like the play didn't happen. That doesn't count. It's a penalty.
After the penalty pushes them back, they'll now face a
So third down and 15. Clock's moving. Under 30 seconds to go here in the first quarter already.
Drops back. Closing in.
Steelers bring some extra pressure. Finds a receiver and another 3rd and 15 plus is converted. Wow. Hasselbeck with a really nice throw there. They got lucky because the Steelers, I mean, it was the correct play call. I shouldn't say lucky. It was a good play call against the defense that they were doing because they brought the cover guy on Bolden, I think. They brought him as pressure, and Kidden was able to stand it, or Hasselbeck, excuse me. I'm getting my Seattle Seahawks quarterbacks confused. Hasselbeck was able to stand in and just hold on to the ball long enough. Nice throw.
Gets one, maybe
Converts
2
to
yards
3rd
on
and
the play.
15. And a bad run there. It looked like the lead blocker just kind of
So
missed
we've
where he was
reached the end of
going.
the first quarter. We've got
That was a
close one
very
underway
quick
with
first
the
quarter.
Steelers ahead of
Steelers,
the Bengals 3.
Lead 3-0.
Teams as switch sides, and we'll start the second quarter.
2nd and 7. Ball on the 47-yard line.
So 2nd down and 7 after they flip the field. Change sides.
They give it to the halfback.
Going to try a run, and
Trying
was
to
I
pick
pick
his
number
way through the middle, but
97.
there's no room.
Just right in the middle there. Too easy.
Seal everything up.
3rd and 7 coming up here. Pittsburgh with 6 defensive backs. Pressure with the pass.
Drops and fires almost an interception. Instead, it's just an incomplete pass. It's going to bring up
He didn't have much
4th
time.
down.
He decided to get rid of the ball quickly on that one.
So 4th down and 7, and an uneven drive for the Bengals. Stalls out just past midfield. And they will punt it away to a Steelers offense that actually looked pretty good on that opening drive, but they might not need the offense here because it's a terrific punt return. That's right, for a touchdown. Wow, you try to look up the patch notes for Saints Row, and Carter takes it all the way back to the house for 6. And just like that, it is 9-0.
They'll line up for the extra point. And it's on its way, and the extra point is good. That score coming on just one play, and the offense didn't even have to come onto the field.
Here's a situation for the offense to take the momentum right back. They need to come out and go right at the defense to let them know they're ready to get a score of their own.
Maynard is back and ready to put this one in the air. Not a bad kick. They'll set up for the return.
So an explosive play for the
From the two.
Pittsburgh Steelers. Going to give them a 2-score
Defense will
lead.
try to force them to punt again as they did the last time the offense had the ball.
I feel like when we have had the Bengals on,
The quarterback lines up with two
been
backs
fairly
behind him.
rare, but I don't think they've performed particularly well. But it could make for an exciting finish down the stretch. So, I don't know. Maybe we just throw them on there and watch them tank themselves.
It's the toss to the left. Loss of about one.
You know, I don't want to do that. I'll make sure that I'm not clicked on to OBS. God forbid I hit a key.
It's second down and a long way to go. Ball on their own 19. Earth, the lone setback.
Second down and 12, and finds the receiver's hands, but he can't come up with it. And we have just seen receivers all day today not able to come up with catches that they should be coming up with.
He just couldn't come up with it.
And that's going to set up a third down and 12. And just like that, the Pittsburgh Steelers could be looking at another punt return here in very quick fashion. That is a throw. That is a catch somehow. I thought the defender was well in front of that, but he was able to find the receiver behind the defender somehow, and that'll keep the drive alive. Cincinnati, weirdly enough, as uneven as they've looked, they've had a couple of third down and like 10 pluses that they have already converted with some good throws from the quarterback. He's going to get hit on this 1st and 10. That'll be a sack and drop him back. Probably 6 or 7 yards, second and long coming up.
They can always bring that extra rusher, and you don't know where he's coming from. It could be from the outside or the inside. It could be a linebacker, it could be a safety. And right there, it led to a sack.
Pressure. He's looking with the pass.
Wilkinson fires over to the left side. Finds a receiver for most of those yards back, but it still will be third down and a couple. And maybe more than a couple. Third down and, I guess, manageable at least.
3rd and 4.
3rd and
Ball on
4.
their own 49. Hand off to the
Good
tailback.
handoff left side, and he's going to find a lot of room. It looked like he actually had. It looked like he had more, and then that Steelers defender just kind of showed up from the like the right side of the screen. But a nice open field tackle, not a great spin move. Either way, it's 1st and 10 for the Bengals on after a 3rd and 4. Offset I.
Under pressure. Gets the pass
Drops
off.
and fires in between a couple of defenders. Some of the catches that these Bengals receivers are coming up with are kind of wild, considering a few that we've seen dropped.
It's 1st and 10. Ball on the 30-yard line. Earth, the lone back.
Oh, that was it felt like a really long time to get that handoff off.
Soon as the extent of the
And
injury
Junior
is known.
Seau, he is injured. He appears to have injured his shoulder on the play.
They'll go from the I formation.
Ball on the 29-yard line.
Going to the right.
Pitch to the right side. And find some room. A nice move by
With a nice run.
Hurst to kind of break it back to the left a little bit. He had just enough of a lane and enough speed to get that first down before he got tackled. This is looking like a better and better Bengals drive the more it goes on. A couple of mishaps have not gotten the best of them, and they're going to go with another run right up the middle. As we hit the 2-minute warning, we'll have a 1st and goal.
Nice job up front.
Oh, they actually put the Heinz ketchup bottles up there? That's wild.
They'll come out on 1st down, and we'll try to make this red zone visit a successful one.
Tiger out.
11th play of this drive. Hurst couldn't escape the pursuit and was cut down.
Not a great run there. It's going to force him back a couple of yards. It'll be 2nd down and goal. Cincinnati will shift into a hurry-up offense. Hasselbeck will take the snap, drop back into the corner of the end zone is where he was looking, and he just found the hands of a Pittsburgh defender who could not bring it in. It'll be 3rd down and goal. These are the kind of drives you want to finish off with touchdowns.
If they're thinking the defense might bring the blitz, a good way to counter that is with a screen.
Bengals over the middle. He throws an interception, and he'll take a knee for a touchback. It was kind of like almost like a lazy fly ball, just a little too much air under it. Nice read by the defender there in the back of the end zone to plant a foot and take advantage of the errant throw by Hasselbeck. So instead of even coming up with just 3, the Bengals come away with nothing, though. John Kitna doing his best Hasselbeck impression by throwing into a bit of a crowd over there and almost went right back to the Bengals. 2nd and 10.
Coming, throwing.
Throws to the left side, incomplete.
Big drop on that play, John.
Rhythm and consistency is one of the most important keys to success when you drop back to pass the ball. But it's hard to find a rhythm and establish some consistency when you're the quarterback and your receivers are dropping passes that should be catches. There's no need for the quarterback to force any throw. There's a whole 2nd half to play, and they don't want to be making any mistakes.
Oh my goodness, that is a terrific defensive stand by Cincinnati. Good time to pick up a sack. We should have seen a timeout taken.
He dropped back to throw. He didn't look comfortable.
4th and 10, someone took a timeout. I'm assuming it was Cincinnati. I didn't see any flash on the screen. Either way,
4th down.
or did they qualify that as an incomplete pass?
They'll have to punt it away here. Here's the kick.
We return from the 40.
This could be big.
And they'll get into Steelers territory. Foot picks up his 5th tackle of the game.
They don't want to go into the half down by this much. They're going to need some good throws and good clock management here.
Gets the pass off, breaking free.
There's a nice throw, and he couldn't quite break that 2nd tackle. He was able to slip the grasp of the 1st man, but Steeler defender number 2 was able to get him down. 1st down and 10, deep in Steelers territory again. Hasselbeck throws. That's a bit of an errant throw. The defender in very good position there, knocked it away. 2nd down and 10, 1:06 to go here. We're going to see that annoying timeout situation rear its ugly head. It cost the Seattle Seahawks a victory today. So that was exciting.
Gets the call. Nice play.
That is a terrific call on the play action pass there. It's just a really bad throw. It sucked the defender up to the running back. They really thought they were running it. Well-timed call, but a bad throw kind of wasted it.
Pressure, throws it.
I'm going to go with a throw. That drive really stalled out. And we've seen Cincinnati look fairly inconsistent throughout the day. And that is where the inconsistency rears its ugly head. All right, they did not actually take a timeout. And if they hold on to this ball for another 20 seconds, I would qualify that as a win. Hell, even 15 seconds would be a win. Pittsburgh will get one more shot before the half, but they won't have a whole lot of time to work with. Probably around 15 seconds. I love this. I love the good clock management. That sounds like sarcasm, but it is not. Kick is up, and the kick is good. 44-yard field goal by Akers. cuts into the lead, and it is 10-3 Pittsburgh with 20 seconds to go. Well, minus a couple of seconds off for the kickoff return, and then they'll set up and should have about, I don't know, 15 seconds. A couple of quick plays if they can get to the boundary. That's one thing that this game series could really use improvement on, is that sort of recognition from the computer. But I don't know. I don't think they're going to make any new patches for it or anything. From inside the 10, about the 7-yard line, he'll run up past the 25, and they will have 17 seconds to work with. 26-yard line. 1st and 10, they'll need 25, 40 yards maybe for a field goal. Might be a little bit much. I don't know exactly how many timeouts they have. They're going to go with a pitch, so it doesn't even matter. Take him down behind the line. And I would guess that they'll just let the clock run out.
That allows him to hold up against the run while also giving him the speed to rush the passer when they drop back to pass.
You know what? It's a good, safe call from Pittsburgh. Don't give Cincinnati an opportunity to get any further back in this game. Bengals trails by 7.
Cincinnati 3.
10-3 here in after the end of the first half. And you can see Bengals looking great. 118 total yards. They just can't cash it in. The difference right now, the punt return for the touchdown for Pittsburgh.
Here's the kickoff team.
Will be kicking off to start the second half. Number 21.
Nice kick and returnable.
From the 5-yard line, he'll get up to the 20 and get clothesline around the 23-yard line.
First and 10. Ball on the 23-yard line.
Come on, partner. Set.
Stevens, the motion man.
Snake out.
See the kind of adjustment Cincinnati makes here for their first drive out of the halftime break. A nice move toward the inside there, but kind of almost just stayed up a little bit too long.
This is it right here.
Probably had a gain of 4, and then got probably dropped down to a gain of only 3.5.
Making the tackle.
5 yards to go.
Actually, they'll give him quite a nice gain there. 2nd down and 5.
Under pressure,
Throws and finds a receiver right at the line to gain. I think he'll get it by about a half yard.
Turns things up 2 or 3 notches when it really counts. That's the kind of thing you love to see as a coach. Guys who have that 2nd and 3rd gear.
only one man back.
Ball on the 34-yard line.
Drop back, drop. Hit him low. Set.
Using motion.
Here comes the
Pass
First and 10.
down, to carry it. So the halfback gets about 2 on the drill.
Gain of 2 on the play.
Bengals looking good on the ground. Steelers not doing a darn thing.
2nd and 8. Hasselback with a man in motion. Hand it off to the back.
Handoff right side. Does a good job slipping a tackle and fights through some contact for a few extra yards to pick up the first down.
That would have been well short of a first down.
First and 10. Ball on the 45-yard line.
We'll see. Give it all you got, D. Come on, Zed. D up,
Going to the air on first down. Slings it to the outside. Perfect throw.
Good job by Hasselbeck to get the throw out of his hand before that pressure collapsed all over him.
Bringing the pass in.
That's the kind of timing you can only get through repetition in practice.
sideline, D.
It's going to lose a yard, but still not as many yards they would have lost if Hasselbeck had held on to that ball for any longer.
Ball on the 44-yard line.
They give it to the
Go with
halfback.
a handoff. He's going to get probably a face mask. Oh, well, holding on Harris The animation looked a little bit like it was going to be a face mask, but it is not. Instead, it is a holding penalty.
It just depends on whether the official sees it and decides to call it.
Second and long. Ball on their own 36.
So second and 19. That is a huge hole for the Bengals, but they have been surprisingly good at converting these longer downs and distances.
Dropping back, surveying the field. It's the pass
Drops
off.
and throws, finds a receiver who spins. I wonder if he doesn't try to spin, if he just keeps going to the sideline, if that defensive back took a bad enough angle for him to be able to get the edge and get around for the first down. Either way, still a nice catch.
They need about 3.
And you like the idea of trying to make a man miss to get up the field. Third down and 3. They're going to go with a run, and he's going to find enough room, but the defense is going to recover because he fumbled the football. It's the second terrible turnover for the Cincinnati Bengals. We might have a booth review here. I don't know if they're going to be able to overturn it. Cincinnati is going to challenge it. It did look like it was he was on the ground a little long. Oh, Hasselbeck right in the way. I think they're going to overturn this. See if we get a better angle here. Oh, he is down. He is well down. Even on the replay, you could see the ruling on the field is overturned. Even on the replay, when they showed that, you can kind of see like the body getting close to the ground, and then it moves again. Like there's definitely a delay. That is a huge overturn for the Cincinnati Bengals, who almost committed their second turnover of the day. Instead, it's a first down and 10. It was terrific effort by Hurst. They're going to give it right back to him. Hey, we trust you. That's what I thought we would see with Cleveland after he threw that interception, and just go like, hey, we're going to give you the ball back, and you're going to throw it, and we're going to be cool. And then instead, they kind of got out of rhythm. But they got bailed out by the Seahawks, so it didn't really matter. Pittsburgh looks like they are selling out to stop the run. They're going to probably try and make Hasselbeck beat them with their arm, or beat them with his arm. Third down and 4.
Dropping back. Throwing.
Throws to the right side. It's off the hands and incomplete. He was wide open. He was wide open. He must have heard the footsteps and just thought, no, thank you. I don't want to get hit today. So the Cincinnati Bengals, following the Atlanta Falcons strategy, cut it to a 7-point lead and see if they can cut it to a 4-point lead. This is a long field goal. No good off the front crossbar. The front of the crossbar again. It's just going to be, oh, so short. That drive should still be going. An egregious, inexcusable incompletion there.
Ball on their own 45. Crosses it left.
That's a really good job picking up that block there by the Steelers back. And instead of it being a 5 or 6 yard loss, it's maybe a 1 or 2 yard loss.
With an aggressive defense like this, a hard count could be an effective way to keep them off balance while trying to draw them offside.
With 2 extra defensive backs, the defense is in the dime.
So second down and 10. 1 minute to go here in the third quarter.
Pressure coming. Pumps.
Kitno rolls around, pumps, and then just threw it right into his lineman's face.
Getting up a little slowly after that play.
The line has to do a better job of protection, or they're going to get their quarterback killed.
Here is a 3rd and long situation. Ball on their own 44. With the throw,
Cincinnati just could not come up with a stop when they needed it. They looked like they were going to get some defenders in the backfield, maybe try to get a sack, but Kitna did a nice job finding a receiver right on the sideline, and that is going to be a first down.
Price in motion. Pass play here on first down.
Kitna again holds the ball for quite a bit of time, ends up finding a wide open receiver. Yes, that's what happens when most quarterbacks throw to a receiver that's wide open. Kitna got rocked again. They've already said that he got up slowly on a previous play of this drive, and this time he's lucky to be able to get up at all.
39-yard line.
Second down and 4.
Using motion. It's the toss to the left.
We go to with a pitch, and that's a nice job there by the Cincinnati defense. Stretch that outside, take him down with a good tackle in the backfield.
That's a nice looking play.
We're getting real close to the end of this third quarter here, and there it is actually. 10-3 still your score. That's right, the difference. A punt return for a touchdown for the Steelers.
The teams are set for the fourth quarter of play.
We have 5 minutes left to decide this one.
3rd and 6.
Steelers looking for a tie of the AFC North lead. Bengals looking to extend that lead.
And this is the 6th play of this drive. Throws it.
I'm going to go with a little throw to the flat, and terrific job defensively by Cincinnati. I don't hate the play on the Pittsburgh Steelers side. I think that we've seen the quarterbacks just leave a little too much air under it when they're just going side to side. When they're turning upfield, I think you can leave a little bit more air under it so he can catch and run. But I think you got to get it a little bit quicker out there so he can at least try to make a move to turn upfield. It might be a little bit harder for the defense to read as he's turning up the field as well. I don't know. It just
with only one back behind him.
Seems like north-south, kind of a float, east-west, more of a bullet pass. Either way, Cincinnati's defense comes through. They force a kick into the end zone for a touchback. And now they are going to try and work their way down the field. They need a touchdown thanks to the missed field goal just to tie the game. Otherwise, they'd be looking for a touchdown to take the lead. And they just keep handing it to big number 20 back there. And he is picking up monster gains.
It's 1st and 10. Ball on their own 30.
Plenty of time here for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Only one man in the backfield.
We're going to go with a handoff again. A couple of Steelers defenders in the backfield pretty quickly to shut that play down. But
effective up front. They do a good job of getting up
no gain.
Creating havoc in the backfield. Misdirection plays and draws can be a good way to use their speed and aggressiveness against them.
They line up in the I formation.
Ball on the 30-yard line.
Hit him low.
Oh, and that's another running play. I don't love it on the 2nd and long. You're forcing your offense into a 3rd and very long if that play doesn't work. I think ideally you try to get 5 or 6 of those yards and set up a 3rd and manageable. At least make the defense kind of have a bit of a guessing game on what you want to do, where instead you're going to get a 3rd and 12. You know what's coming. Though Cincinnati has been good in these 3rd and long situations. You really can't live on that. Steps up and throws. It's intercepted. The throw was a little bit high. I think he felt the pressure there. Not even really that great of a positioning for the
Jumped up there, just stole that pass.
The defender there. It looked like it was too tall for the first guy, too short for the second guy. If he goes underneath, he might get a first down. The commentator's curse lives. Cincinnati's offense has been inconsistent. They've shown like flashes, but it's just not.
This one falls incomplete.
Oh, John Kitna injured his shoulder on the play. They said a few passes ago he got off the field slowly. We saw him take a lick even after that commentary piece was laid out before us. And this time he comes up with a shoulder injury. So we'll see what the Steelers want to do. They're nursing a 7-point lead here late in the game. 3:38 to go in the fourth quarter. Their quarterback is number something.
Pressure with the pass.
Number 12?
That one hit him in the hands, but he just couldn't hang on.
Pretty good play call on that one. Everything happened.
Is Terry
just as
Bradshaw's
it's
number
brought
12
up.
not
Just couldn't hang on.
retired by the Steelers?
Cowboy. Bust his grill.
Third and 10. Ball on the 38-yard line.
Hands it off to the back.
Hands off to the back, and he's going to try and slither his way through the line. Nothing doing there. That's not even Terrell Davis. It's their backup running back. Not sure who the backup quarterback is here for 12. It's not Tom Brady because he's playing for the Texans.
About a 53-yard attempt. The kick is up.
Kick is up, and the kick is no good. It is short, and that injury may have changed the entire complexion of this game. Oh my goodness. It's so exciting.
It's 1st and 10.
3:11 to go here in the fourth quarter. 10-3, Pittsburgh leads.
Lose it.
Number 12.
Drops back with the throw.
Throws and finds a receiver. He's going to be a little short of the first down, but that's all right. A nice completion there.
The defense needs
for
to keep
Driver.
track of that guy a little better. He can make that kind of grab anytime.
The backs are lined up in an eye.
Ball on the 48-yard line.
Under pressure.
Hasselbeck drops back, finds a receiver. See, there is a really nice pass to the running back in the flat. Little air under it to give him an opportunity to run under, catch and go.
1st and 10. Ball on the 44-yard line.
Able to pick up the first down into Steelers territory.
The quarterback gets set with only one back
You know, with a
behind him.
handoff still.
That's a 3-yard
I mean, it's
gain.
good to not be one-dimensional. They have 67 rushing yards today. The Steelers somehow, even with like Terrell Davis himself, -1. 2nd down and 8. Cincinnati, not really in much of a hurry here, so they're going to need to score a touchdown. Field goal is not even going to be an option here,
You know, it was because the
especially
defense
not after
filled
a
all
play
the
like
gaps.
that.
Dak was looking for a place to run.
They already
But by
missed one
bringing
from
the run blitz,
pretty
they took
deep.
away all the gaps, bringing them down for a
They're
loss.
going to be set up here with a 3rd and 14.
Pittsburgh looking for pass. with
Oh,
only
3rd and 9,
three
okay.
down
Whoops.
linemen and 7
Rip.
DBs on the field.
I'm surprised that was the down and distance. Okay, that's all right. Hasselbeck stands all kinds of time, throws and finds a receiver, but they can't come up with it.
Excellent opportunity to
The
end
catching
drive
in this
right
game
there.
is
Just couldn't
terrible.
bring it in.
I don't think a field goal does you a lot of good here. I mean, you have a shot. I mean, you need a touchdown either way. But a field goal from this deep is likely going to be a miss. It's a throw and incomplete. I do not like that play at all. I don't know that Pittsburgh was really going to get through. I think he had another second or two to get rid of that ball. But he threw that off his back foot. It was an errant throw. And this Pittsburgh Steelers team, once the defense, once Cincinnati gets into their territory, they've been a great team at
They have two
stopping
remaining.
them, including the interception in the end zone. Man.
2nd and 7 coming up here. Ball on their own 46.
I do like the call, though, to go for it on 4th down.
On the ground.
There's no guarantee you get that ball back.
That's their second. About a
Cincinnati's had the ball for
here.
12
I'm guessing this
minutes.
should be a run.
And these are only
Defense
20-minute
can't be
games.
lollygagging around, because if they are and they give up a first.
All right,
this
3rd
one's
down
over.
and 5. Cincinnati has one timeout left. This is the game. Unless Pittsburgh does something real dumb,
Davenport. The
which
man
we
in
have
motion.
seen happen. Cincinnati shifts the run left side, and that is...
Great blocking
They needed
up front.
5. They
Hold
got
that big.
7.
Yeah, it was all north-south running there. Not a lot
Wow.
of side to side. And that's exactly what you have to do to get the first.
It's 1st and 10. Ball on the 45-yard line.
Hawkeye right. Set. Hut. 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 Hut.
Hand off to the tailback.
Drops back.
Davis
Handed the
couldn't
ball
pick up
off.
any blocking on that play.
The
That
defense
is,
is always very aggressive when defending the run. They're extremely disciplined.
That's it.
and
Game
get off their
over.
blocks
Pittsburgh is going to
very
win this
quickly.
one 10-3.
Makes it tough to
Not a
find
great
openings when
offensive
you're running the
showcase.
ball.
Nice job by the Pittsburgh Steelers special teams to get that touchdown that separated them. And the Steelers defense did a really good job of making sure that Cincinnati wasn't able to score once they got onto that side of the field. They gave up the field goal, and that was it. They gave up the field goal attempt, but that was short off the front crossbar, or the front of the crossbar. And it just, that interception was so big. Cincinnati's offense fairly inconsistent throughout the game.
Again with the run. The Bengals
And unfortunately,
call a timeout.
Cincinnati's going to use their
That's
last
their
timeout.
third
It's not going to make a
and
difference,
final
though,
timeout. A kneel
because
down
they'll be
here
third
should be
down
the
and
last
11.
play of the game. 3rd and long. Ball on the 44-yard line. Sets up.
They might actually have to punt this ball away. That play was too short. There should be a 2 or 3 second difference. They're going to be a 4 second difference. Yeah, he shouldn't have. You gotta like, I know the game's not scripted like this because I think that it's kind of a fairly new like strategy, but like to drop back and kind of just take whatever the loss is to make sure that you're running enough time off the clock. This will be the last play of the game. The hang time should be enough to run it down to 0. So Cincinnati's going to need a miracle punt return.
Here's the kick. And he chooses not to return this one. And this will be a touchback.
Just kidding. They snapped it too early. It was a weird line drive. So it's a touchback with 2 seconds remaining. 2 seconds. One play. We saw Cleveland do it in the last game against Seattle.
Out of the shotgun.
1st and 10. Ball on the 20-yard line.
Hopefully Hasselbeck can at least get it out of his hand here. And he threw it right to a defender. Okay, well, it was almost kind of a exciting ending, but it ended up not being one. Both teams now 7-5 following a 10-3 Pittsburgh victory. Cincinnati does not look like a team that could threaten in the playoffs. I don't know, maybe they are. 7-5 feels like a good record for them because that would indicate that they have had some good and have had some rough games like this. The offense looked good at times, but just wasn't consistent enough. And Pittsburgh's offense didn't look great, but their defense did a great job at holding them, and their special teams gave them a boost of points that their offense didn't have to get. So, yeah, that was an interesting game. We're going to see how the AFC North shakes out here over the coming 4 weeks or so. A couple of divisions are looking pretty in hand already, including the NFC West and the NFC East. The NFC North is going to have a big matchup here. We're going to simulate Packers-Lions. And then the South is pretty well in hand as well. So, yeah. The NFC is the less interesting division, or conference, I should say. Let's simulate the week. Looks like it was a good one up in, I think it was in Lambeau today. Ooh, Bengals Ravens. Ooh, okay. Big game for the Packers. They are going to win by 18, 38-20. The Lions had a really hot start, but they've lost their last couple of games to divisional opponents. So now the Packers and Lions both 8-4. The Dolphins and Cowboys are both 8-4 as well, after the Cowboys won 23-13. Ravens take care of business against a pretty lousy 49ers team that's never really been competitive, though somehow beat the Detroit Lions, so there's that. 17-9 your final from Baltimore. That puts the Ravens at 6-6. The Eagles blank the Panthers, and that puts them at 6-6, 20-0 your score there. Cardinals and the Bears. The Bears fall in overtime to Arizona. Neither of these teams have been particularly competitive throughout the season. Falcons beat the Texans 13-10. Both of those teams now 6-6. It's kind of been the magic number early in the 8-4, 6-6. Those have been your magical records here. Falcons mounted a 13-point scoreless streak. Whatever. They scored 13 unanswered points to get the victory, including a pick 6 late in that one. Patriots and Colts, they're both 5-7. That was a game the Patriots really needed to win. 16-13 your score in overtime. And the Giants and the Bills is next. Bills take out the Giants in New York, 19-14. The Bills improved to 9-3. We watched the Steelers beat the Bengals by 7. Both teams now with 7 wins. 10-3 your final there, and that's going to tighten up that AFC North race. The Vikings, they fall to the Rams. They fall to 5-7. After such a big win against the Lions last week, the Vikings come in to this week really needing a win, and they fall by 5, 21-16 in St. Louis. Rams improve to 9-3. The Saints get a touchdown victory and a really lovely score, 14-7. The Saints beating Washington to even their record at 6-6. The Broncos are 8-4 after a 31-10 victory in Oakland. The Chiefs are also 8-4 after a 28-10 victory over the Chargers. The Chargers were looking pretty okay there for a little bit, but they have dropped a few games in a row, or just kind of like 3 out of 4, something like that, where they are now fading fast in the hopes of a playoff spot. We watched the Browns get an unbelievable victory in overtime, 20-17. The Seahawks really should be a 6-6 team, but instead it is the Browns. We can't theorize about what would have happened or could have happened. We need to look at what did happen. And that was the Seahawks being real dumb, using timeouts, and then giving up 10 points in the final 50 seconds of regulation, and then the final frame in overtime. Buccaneers keep taking care of business, and this is going to make the AFC South interesting at 6-6. So the Buccaneers win. They're 9-3, 31-17 your final in Jacksonville. 6-6 is the record for the Jaguars as well, and we're going to have a real cluster of 6-6 teams, which is wild. The Jets, they're 7-5 somehow. They won 21-16 over the Titans. This is maybe a team to keep an eye on, but they were playing kind of a garbage Titans team, though they were only able to take care of them by 5 points at home. Okay. Standings. We have 3 9-3 teams: the Rams, the Bills, the Bucks. The AFC is led by the Bills. The Chiefs would be your 2 spot. I guess the Steelers your 3. So wait, hold on. East, West, 1, 2. East, West, North. And then a South team, the Texans. And then the Steelers would be your 4. Whew, that's confusing. The Bengals are not in the playoffs right now because of the AFC South and its its badness. But look, a lot of 6-6 teams. They're going to need some help, though. It's kind of went in a weird direction that I guess I overlooked or wasn't anticipating, that like the Broncos are a surprising 8-4. And the Jets are a surprising 7-5, but because like the Bills and the Dolphins, they've been up there for a while. So I thought that this fight was going to be for the 6th spot, but I didn't realize the Broncos were in the mix, I think. But it's interesting nonetheless. So you would have Steelers would be your 3, Bills your 1, Chiefs your 2, Steelers your 3, Texans your 4, Dolphins 5, Broncos 6, which means the Jets, Bengals, Jaguars, Ravens, Browns, all on the outside looking in. Okay. In the NFC, I think this one's a little bit clearer. The Eagles are sneaking into the playoffs right now at 6-6. The Rams are your 1 spot. The Buccaneers are your 2. Packers are your 3. Cowboys your 4, Lions your 5, Eagles your 6. Okay, that works for me. Packers must have the tiebreaker over the Lions. Doesn't really matter. I guess it's just a home wild card game. The 3 would play the 6, so it would be Cowboys, Lions, Packers, Eagles, whatever. Saints, Falcons are on the outside looking in at the moment. Vikings, they took a real shot there. Their playoff hopes did. The AFC North is as tight as it has probably ever been. All 4 teams at 500 or better. Steelers lead with the Bengals at 7-5. The Ravens and Browns just behind by a game. The AFC South is very competitive as well. Texans and Jaguars are both 6-6. The Colts are 5-7, and the Titans are 3-9. So the Colts still have a shot, but they're going to need help, and they're likely going to have to win the division. I think the AFC South is going to put one team in, and it's going to be the division winner, because everybody's kind of just getting beat up by other teams and beating each other up. The AFC East is a tight race as well, kind of a sneakily tight race. Bills are in front at 9-3. The Dolphins are at 8-4. The Jets trail just behind those teams at 7-5. The Patriots took a big hit today by losing their game. They dropped to 5-7. Out west, we have the Chiefs up top at 8-4 and the Broncos at 8-4. Both of those teams will be competing for an AFC West crown, and both of those teams look like they're good. Even if they lose, they'll have a pretty good shot at a wild card spot. Flipping over to the NFC, we have a good race in the NFC North. The Packers and the Lions, they're on top at 8-4. The Vikings and Bears, the Bears have sucked all season, which is good for me. The Vikings, I thought, would have a fighting chance, but they lost today, and that did not help their case at all. The NFC South has been the Bucs to lose for quite a while, and they don't seem to be relinquishing that at all at 9-3. Saints and Falcons are both 6-6, looking for that wild card spot, and then the Panthers are 4-8. The NFC East has a surprising representative in the Eagles right now in the 6th spot. The Cowboys have had this division. They've been atop the division all season long. New York and Washington have really put up no fight, but the Eagles, though, I think this is the first time in the 4 seasons that I've done this, the Eagles are in a place where they might make the playoffs. It's always been the Cowboys, and then one time Washington made it in. I think they got eliminated immediately. Out west, I think the Rams have this division locked up. I don't know if it'll give me a letter or anything, but if the Rams win next week, they'll for sure have it, because the Seahawks can only max out at 9 wins. So maybe that's why they don't quite have it just yet. 49ers and Cardinals are terrible. There you go. All right, let's take a quick peek at next week's slate. Bengals Ravens, that is a good one to look at. Though the Bengals didn't look particularly good today, the Ravens can take another step towards a playoff berth, towards first place in the AFC North with a victory over the Bengals next week. Lions look to rebound against the Chargers. Packers, Bears. I think this is the second season in a row where I've skipped the backside of this rivalry because one team is better than the other. Texans, Jags will probably be on the channel. I know we've had the Texans on a lot lately, but this is, I believe, for first place in the AFC South, so that'll be a good one to look at. Vikings and Seahawks would have been a lot more interesting if those teams had won today. Buccaneers and Saints. Okay, that's an interesting matchup. Cowboys Eagles is also an interesting matchup. Can the Eagles make another step? Jets Bills. Okay. Jets Bills, Chiefs Broncos, Rams Browns. Could we have a couple of division leads up for grabs maybe in the next episode? All right. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. I appreciate it. That has been week number 13, or episode number 73 of Random Rosters. Thank you so much for watching. We're in Madden NFL 2004. This series posts every single Tuesday right here on youtube.com/ShaunosaurusRex. So if you'd like to keep up with what's going on in the digital random rostered world of the NFL, be sure to scroll down, subscribe, ring the bell. You'll be notified when I post new videos. And we will see you next week for more NFL action right here on youtube.com/ShaunosaurusRex. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and go sports.